Good morning, dear friend. As the first light stretches across the horizon and brushes the edges of the sky with gentle gold, something sacred awakens. The world is still hushed. The wind speaks only in whispers. This moment just before the world fully wakes is a doorway. A stillness where your soul can finally breathe. Where the noise of yesterday is quiet enough for your heart to hear the whisper of something greater. In this holy hour of morning, you are not alone. Somewhere, perhaps not far from you, there is a woman sitting on the edge of her bed, staring at the floor. Her eyes are tired not just from lack of sleep, but from holding back tears she did not have time to cry. Weight she carries has no name others would understand. It is the heaviness that follows her into the shower, into work, into church. She is functioning, but barely. She once believed deeply, sang boldly, prayed fiercely. But now she wonders if heaven still listens. Elsewhere, a man clutches his phone in the dark, afraid to check the message he just received. He knows what it might say. He has already lost so much: his job, his peace, his sense of control. The world keeps spinning, but for him, time is stalled in a place of fear. He is afraid to hope, because the last time he did, the disappointment almost broke him. And maybe, just maybe, you have felt this too. Maybe you are the one going through the motions, smiling when expected, but inside you are quietly pleading for relief. You have been strong for everyone else, but no one sees the silent storm beneath your skin. You wake up early not just for routine, because some part of you is desperate for a moment with God before the world pulls you in again. And if that is you, if any part of that echoes in your soul, then you are exactly where you need to be. You are standing at the beginning of a spiritual journey, one that does not ask you to be perfect or put together, one that begins not with strength, but with surrender. The world has taught us to move fast, to push through pain, to earn worthiness. But this space, this sacred time of morning, is not about striving. It is about coming as you are broken, weary, hopeful, afraid, and opening the door to divine presence. Because there is power in prayer that cannot be explained with logic. There is healing that does not begin with medicine. There is peace that shows up not because everything is fixed, but because your spirit has been heard. And when you speak honestly to the one who shaped you, something eternal shifts, chains begin to loosen, lies begin to crumble. Hope begins to rise not like a flood, but like the steady glow of dawn. This morning is not an accident. You did not stumble into this moment by coincidence. You were drawn here, perhaps by desperation, perhaps by longing, but maybe, just maybe, by divine invitation. An invitation to talk, not with rituals, but with realness. To step into a conversation with the God who sees you, who has always seen you, not just in church or when you are strong, but in the silence. The pain, the confusion, and even the anger. So, my friend, I invite you just for now to set everything else aside. Let the noise wait. Let the pressure pause. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late or too broken. You are here, and the one who made you is ready to speak into your heart in ways no one else can. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you this morning not with loud praises or bold declarations, but with a quiet heart that barely knows what to say. I do not pretend to be strong. I do not try to hide the weariness in my bones or the ache that sits heavy in my chest. I am here, barely holding it together, hoping you will meet me in this silence where my soul has run out of words. The world outside may be waking up with plans and duties, but inside, I am still sitting in the night. I am still wrapped in questions that have no clear answers. I am still carrying the weight of moments I never expected to face. This silence, Lord, is not peaceful. It is not serene or holy in the way I used to imagine prayer would be. It feels more like standing in a fog, unsure of which direction leads to light. I feel distant even from myself sometimes, like I am watching my life happen through a window I cannot open. I try to smile. I try to function, but deep within, something is tired in a way rest cannot touch. I long to feel your presence, but instead, I feel the hollow ache of waiting. And still I come, not because I have figured it out, not because I am righteous, but because this silence is too heavy to carry alone. There are moments when it seems like you are quiet too, when prayers fall into the stillness like stones into water, and I wait, hoping for a ripple. I know you are good. I have heard others say it, and I have even spoken it myself. But in the silence, I wonder why the good does not always feel near. I wonder if you see me here sitting on the edge of belief, trying not to let the doubt win. I wonder if you remember the pieces of my heart that still hurt, the ones I tried to forget because they hurt too much to look at. I wonder if you are as close as they say you are. If you are, would you meet me here not at the end of a dramatic story or a glorious testimony, but right here in the middle of the mess? I do not need fireworks. I need breath. I need a place to exhale everything I have been holding in, the unspoken fears, the deep disappointments, the silent sorrow that hides behind my eyes when I smile. I need you to show me that I am not forgotten, that this moment matters to you even if the world keeps turning without pause. I need to know that you are not just the God of victories, but the God who sits with me when I feel like I have lost too much to move forward. So I lay it all down, every fear I cannot name, every hope I am afraid to hold, every question I do not have the courage to ask aloud. I lay them before you because you are the only one who knows what to do with them. You are the only one who sees the full picture while I am stuck in the corner. You are the only one who can hold what is too heavy for me, and so I release it. Not perfectly, not completely, but honestly, I release it with trembling hands, hoping you will catch what slips through my fingers. Speak, Lord, even if it is not with words. Speak through the quiet. Breathe into this silence until it begins to feel like peace instead of emptiness. Teach me to listen without panic, to wait without giving up, to trust that you are working even when I cannot trace what you are doing. I do not need to understand. I just need to know you are near. I just need to know that my silence is not the end of the story. That you are not absent in the stillness, but waiting for me to come close enough to hear your whisper. This morning, I do not ask for answers. I ask for presence. I ask for the nearness that wraps around my doubt and turns it into rest. I ask for the kind of comfort that does not fix all my problems, but steadies my heart to keep breathing. I ask for you, not the version of you I try to imagine when I am strong, but the real you who meets people in their broken places and still calls them beloved. I need you to hold what I cannot, to remember what I forget, to carry what I was never meant to bear alone. Even in this silence, something in me still believes. It is not loud, it is not proud, but it is stubborn. It is the kind of faith that has been through fire and still stands. The kind that does not glow but flickers in the wind and somehow refuses to go out. I offer you that flame today. It may not light up a room, but it is real. And I trust that you can do more with that than I can do with 1,000 perfect words. So here I am, Lord, sitting with you before the world wakes up fully, before the masks go on, before the noise takes over again. Stay with me in this quiet. Stay with me when my thoughts try to wander. Stay with me when my heart feels numb. Do not rush me to healing. Let me linger here if I need to, until I remember that even in the silence, I am not alone. Even in the stillness, you are near. Even in the not yet, you are already at work. Help me trust the work I cannot see. Help me believe that what feels empty now may one day be full of meaning. Help me hold on, even if all I can do is whisper your name in the dark. You are not just the God of the shout, but the God of the sigh. And that is enough for today. Father, something inside me is stirring now, slowly, quietly, but it is moving. It is the kind of stirring that feels like a crack in a frozen river, a sign that something beneath the surface is trying to come alive again. I do not know what it means. I do not even know if I am ready, but I feel it. A trembling, a pulse, a faint rhythm that says, maybe this is the beginning of something. And as I sit in this quiet place, where I poured out the silence and waited for you, I feel the weight shifting just enough to breathe again. It is not a rush of strength. It is not a flood of answers. It is a whisper, and I am choosing to follow it. Lord, if this is what it means to begin again, then let me begin slowly. Let the first cry not be loud or polished, but honest. Let it come from the place I have kept hidden, even from myself. I am tired of pretending that silence is strength, when really it was fear. I am tired of holding everything inside like I have something to prove. I am not here to impress you. I am here to find you. I am here because I need something more than explanation. I need encounter. I need you to hear me. Not because I deserve it, but because I do not want to be alone anymore in this place. God, I do not even know what to pray for. I do not have the right words or the cleanest heart. I just know that something inside me is itching to be seen, and not just seen, but understood, not just heard, but held. This pain is not poetic. It is not noble. It just is. It shows up in my breath, in my chest, in the way I struggle to get through ordinary moments. And I am tired of dressing it up with shallow smiles. I want to cry out, even if my voice shakes, even if the sound is messy and broken, even if no one else would understand it. Because maybe you will. Maybe you always have. So I cry not because I want attention, but because I want release. I cry because something buried deep is finally surfacing. I cry because I cannot keep carrying it in silence. I cry because I trust that you can handle the parts of me I cannot. And in this sacred cry, I bring you everything I do not have the strength to fix. The relationships that feel distant, the moments I regret, the fear that hovers like a shadow, reminding me how fragile things really are. I bring you the fatigue that does not go away with sleep, and the tension that does not ease with time. I bring you all of it. I do not ask you to make it disappear. I ask you to meet me in it. I ask you to let my tears water something new in my life. Not a replacement for what I lost, but a resurrection of what I almost gave up on. Let this cry be more than grief. Let it be a seed. Let it fall into your hands and become something sacred. Something that will grow in the places I thought were barren. And while I wait, help me to trust that you are the kind of God who leans in when your child finally dares to weep. Even now, I feel a shift not around me, but inside me. I feel the space that opens when I finally stop trying to be okay. I feel the mercy that enters when I admit I am not enough. I feel the comfort of knowing I do not have to carry this alone anymore. And I wonder, Lord, how long you have been waiting for me to get to this place. Not the place of strength, but the place of surrender. Not the place of answers, but the place of need. I have spent so much time trying to be strong, trying to be wise, trying to be good. And here you are, meeting me in my weakness, whispering that you are near. I cannot undo the pain. I cannot rewrite the story. But I can show up in the middle of it, and I can let myself cry in your presence without shame. That is enough for today. And if it is true that you collect every tear, then I offer you mine not because they are holy, but because they are real, because they are all I have right now to give. And if you are the God who makes rivers in deserts and beauty from ashes, then surely you can make something from this cry. Something honest. Something raw. Something sacred. Let this be the beginning of a conversation that I no longer run from. Let this be the moment where my soul learns to speak again, not just with words, but with truth. Let this cry break something open that needed breaking. Let it tear down the wall I built to keep pain out, but ended up trapping myself inside. Let it make space for you to come in, not the version of you I tried to understand, but the real you, who stays even when the tears fall, who listens even when I can barely speak, who responds not with lectures, but with love. Lord, I do not need a miracle right now. I need presence. I need to know that you are sitting beside me, not waiting for me to clean up this mess before you move. I need to know that this cry, though small and fragile, echoes in eternity because it is directed toward you. I need to know that even though my faith feels small, is still faith. That even though my words feel broken, they are still heard. That even though my heart is tired, It is still held. So I keep crying, not because I am hopeless, but because I am hopeful enough to be honest. Because I believe, even if only a little, that you will not waste my pain, that you will not turn away from my weakness, that you will not stay silent when I finally speak. Let this be a holy cry, not polished, not rehearsed, but holy in its truth, and let it reach you, not because it is loud, but because it is real, because it comes from the place have been waiting to touch all along. This morning, I offer you my first cry, the one that rises from the deepest part of me, the one that says, I still believe you care. I still believe you see. I still believe you are the one I can turn to when I have nowhere else to go. And even if I do not feel strong enough to say much more, this cry will be my prayer, and I will wait in the quiet that follows, trusting that you hear it all. God, I stayed here in the stillness after the tears faded, and now something deeper begins to rise. Not louder, not brighter, but heavier. There is a weight that comes not from sadness alone, but from the tension between what I believe and what I see. I want to trust you. I do. But the truth is I am still wrestling, not with you alone, but with my own thoughts, with the voices in my head that want to stay silent, with the echoes of past wounds and the shadows of future fears. I am caught in the middle between faith and fear, between surrender and survival. Father, this is not the kind of fight people notice. It does not leave bruises they can see. It happens behind the eyes, beneath the skin, in the hours when the world sleeps and my mind refuses to rest. It is the kind of wrestling that leaves me wary without ever throwing a punch. And I do not even know who or what I am fighting sometimes. Is it doubt? Disappointment? The silence? Or just the voice that says nothing will ever change? I try to quiet it, but it comes back stronger. I try to rebuke it, but it knows the language of my own weakness. And yet I am still here, still turning to you, still whispering prayers in the dark, because something in me refuses to let go. Lord, I think of Jacob, how he wrestled through the night, desperate not just for answers but for blessing, how he held on, wounded and determined, until you touched him and changed everything. I wonder what that must have felt like, to fight and not run, to wrestle with the weight of his name, his past, his fear, and I see myself in him, limping through prayer, uncertain, yet unwilling to give up. Maybe that is what faith really looks like in the dark. Not strength, but struggle. Not resolution, but resistance. Maybe holding on is all I need to do right now. Maybe you are not asking me to win the fight, just not to let go. I wish the night would end. I wish morning would break with clarity and ease. But for now, I am here in this tension, and I invite you into it. Not just into the parts of me that are composed and calm, but into the inner storm that never settles, into the thoughts I try to silence, into the memories that still sting, into the fears I can't name out loud. I invite you into the fight, not to remove it, but to join me in it, because even if I am wrestling, I want to wrestle in your arms. I want to struggle while holding on to you, not while drifting from you, God. If there is something you are doing in this night season, help me see it. If there is something you are forming in me through this resistance, do not let me miss it. I know I am not here by accident. I know this H has a purpose, even if I can T-name it yet. So I yield to the mystery of what you are shaping in me. I let you work even through the chaos of my thoughts. I trust, in the quietest corners of my soul, that you are not overwhelmed by my internal battles, that you do not withdraw when my heart is conflicted, that you come closer. There is a war happening within me, the desire to believe against the temptation to doubt, the longing to rest against the instinct to defend, the need for peace against the fear of surrender. And in the middle of this tug of war, I lift my heart to you, not perfect, not clean, but open. I give you my questions, not because I expect immediate answers, but because I trust you are big enough to hold them. I give you my struggle, not because I expect it to vanish, but because I believe you care enough to walk through it with me. I do not want to fake my way through this night. I do not want to hide behind spiritual words that sound right but mean little. I want to be real with you, God, even if my prayers are messy, even if my declarations are more like confessions, even if my praise comes with a limp. I want you to have the truth of me, not the image I try to create. I want you to see the fight inside and not turn away. I want you to stay close when I am too exhausted to keep pretending that I am okay. And in this battle, I ask for one thing above all else: your presence. Not the version I was taught to pursue, not the experience I imagined would feel flawless and bright, but the presence that meets me in the shadows, the kind that wraps around me when I have run out of prayers and strength, the kind that speaks softly when I am too tired to listen hard, the kind that does not rush the process, but holds me through it. That is what I need. That is what I crave. Not escape, but Emmanuel, God with me. If this night must last a little longer, then let it not be wasted. Let it refine me. Let it teach me how to lean, how to wait, how to believe when I have every reason not to. Let it strip me of the illusions I have built and show me who I really am when everything else fades. Let it reveal the parts of me that still resist love, and help me lay them down one by one. If the night is a teacher, help me be a student. If the wrestling is sacred, help me stay in it long enough to receive the blessing hidden inside. So I keep wrestling, not because I am faithless, but because my faith is real enough to struggle. Because I want to be changed, not just comforted. Because I believe that something in this tension is shaping me for something greater. And even when I feel like I am losing, I remember that grace is not measured by victories, but by presence. That you have not left, that you are near, that the struggle itself is holy because it brings me closer to the truth of who you are. I do not know how long this night will last. I do not know how long I will wrestle, but I choose to stay in it with you. I choose to believe that even now, you are moving in ways I cannot see. I choose to believe that this fight will not end in defeat, but in transformation. that I will not walk away empty-handed, even if I walk away with a limp. That somehow, this night will mark me not as one who was broken, but as one who was met by you in the breaking. And that, God, is enough for now. Lord, as I continue to wrestle through the shadows of my thoughts and the weight of uncertainty, something in me begins to remember. It is not loud, not sudden. It is more like a faint echo that rises from somewhere beneath the surface, like a sound long forgotten that somehow still lives in the walls of my memory. It is the memory of times you showed up before, in different seasons, in different ways, moments when I thought it was over. And somehow, you carried me through. I do not know why those memories are stirring now, but I welcome them. Because, maybe, in this night of doubt, I need to look backward before I can believe forward. Father, I remember a time when I cried for help, and the help came not always how I expected, not always immediately, but it came. I remember moments when the door opened just before I gave up knocking, when the burden lifted just enough for me to stand again, when peace found me in the middle of a storm I did not think I would survive. And it was not because I was strong or deserving. It was because you were faithful. You did not need me to be impressive. You only needed me to be present. You answered me not because I got everything right, but because you are good. These memories, God, they do not erase my current struggle, but they soften it. They remind me that this is not the first valley, that I have been in places before where the darkness felt endless, where silence felt like abandonment, where waiting felt like punishment, but every time, without fail, you revealed yourself, sometimes slowly, sometimes through people I did not expect, sometimes in the stillness that settled over my spirit like a warm blanket in winter. I did not always recognize it then, but looking back now, I see it. I see your fingerprints all over what I once called coincidence. I see mercy in places I used to label as chaos. Lord, bring to my heart every miracle I have forgotten, every answered prayer I stopped celebrating, every act of kindness, protection, and provision that I have taken for granted, not to make me feel guilty, but to remind me of your nature. Because right now, I do not just need to believe in a distant hope. I need to remember the living evidence that you have already been near. Let these echoes grow louder until they drown out the voice of fear. Let these memories become a foundation I can stand on, even as the wind still blows. Let them be stones of remembrance that I stack in my spirit like altars, testifying that you were here. Sometimes I forget that miracles are not always loud, that they do not always arrive in fire or thunder. Sometimes they are quiet shifts, a return of peace I thought I lost, a moment of clarity in the middle of confusion, a phone call at just the right time, a check that covers what I did not know I would need. Sometimes the miracle is not in the change of circumstance, but in the change inside of me, the strength to stay, the grace to forgive, the courage to hope again. Remind me that these, too, are sacred, that you are not limited to dramatic rescues. You often move in the small, the slow, the unseen. God, let these memories not only comfort me, but also reframe the way I see what I am facing now. Maybe the current silence is not absence, but preparation. Maybe the delay is not rejection, but refinement. Maybe what I call wilderness is actually the place where you are writing a deeper story. I do not want to be so consumed by what is lacking that I forget what has already been given. I do not want to measure your faithfulness by what I feel in this moment alone. Help me zoom out. Help me see the arc of grace that has carried me this far. There are places I thought would break me that became holy ground. There are prayers I thought were ignored that were actually being answered in ways I could not yet perceive. There were times I begged you to take something away, and you did not, but later I saw how you used it to shape me. I am learning that sometimes the miracle is not in the escape, but in the endurance. Not in what you remove, but in what you reveal through it. And that changes everything. That helps me breathe a little deeper, even now. So I name these memories aloud, not just to remind myself, but to proclaim to the doubt inside me that you are still who you say you are. You were the same God when I was broken, when I was healed, when I was lost, and when I was found again. You never changed. It was my view that wavered, not your presence. I remember the quiet ways you held me together, the friends you sent when I felt abandoned, the scriptures that leapt off the page at just the right time, the dreams you revived when I thought it was too late, the tears you turned into strength. Lord, I ask that you use these echoes to build something new inside me. Let them become pillars of trust that support me now. Let them give me eyes to see this current trial differently. Maybe, just maybe, you are about to do something again. Not identical, not recycled, but fresh. I do not know what it will look like, but if you have done it before, I believe you can do it again. Not because I deserve it, but because that is who you are. You are the God who remembers, the God who rescues, the God who restores. And so I wait, not just with desperation, but with memory, with the sacred recollection of all the ways you have carried me before. I let these echoes guide me not into the past, but into present trust. I let them remind me that you are not done with me yet, that just as you showed up then, you will show up now. Maybe not in the way I expect, maybe not on the timeline I demand, but you will come, and when you do, I will recognize the sound not because it is new, but because it will carry the same tone as every other miracle. Gentle, faithful, true. I hold on to that today, not because my feelings are steady, but because my memories are. Because I have seen too much to stop believing now. Because the same hands that held me then are still holding me now. And though the path ahead remains unclear, I choose to walk it anyway, with the sound of old miracles echoing in my heart, steadying my steps, and reminding me that you are still near. God, as I hold on to the echoes of what you have done before, I also face the truth of where I am right now. I do not deny what you have carried me through, but I confess what still feels heavy. I acknowledge that remembering brings hope, but it does not erase the H completely. And in this moment, I need to admit something that pride often tries to silence. I am tired. Not just the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the deeper kind, the awareness that settles in my bones and makes even small steps feel like mountains. I do not say this to complain. I say it because I know you can handle my honesty, and I can't pretend any longer that I have the strength to do this on my own. Father, I have tried. I have pressed forward, spoken faith, kept smiling, kept working, kept encouraging others while quietly falling apart on the inside. I have told myself that pushing through is a sign of resilience, that staying quiet is strength, that exhaustion is a weakness to be hidden. But none of that has brought peace. None of that has brought healing. What I need now is not more pressure to keep going, but permission to stop and breathe. To let you be my strength, not in a poetic sense, but in a real and necessary way. Because right now, my strength has failed me. Lord, I am not sure when I started believing that it was my job to hold everything together. That if I just prayed harder, planned better, spoke more positively, I could control the outcomes. I have carried that mindset for so long that letting go of it feels like failure. But maybe it is not. Maybe surrender is not weakness. Maybe it is the beginning of trust. Maybe this place, where I finally let my arms fall and stop pretending I can fix it all, is the place where you begin to lift me in ways I have never known before. Maybe strength is not what I can produce, but what I can receive. So I come to you now, empty-handed and out of breath, not asking for a quick fix, but for your presence to fill the spaces where my strength has run out. I come not to impress you with perseverance, but to invite you into the fragile place where I finally admit I am not okay. I need you to meet me here, not at the finish line, not at the victory speech, but right here where the road feels long and my feet feel unsteady. I need you to carry what I can, to breathe into lungs that feel too heavy to lift, to remind me that I was never meant to be the hero of my own story. God, if you are who you say you are, then you are not disappointed in my weakness. You are not surprised by my need. You are not withholding help until I prove I am worthy of it. You are the one who comes close to the brokenhearted, who gives power to the faint, who lifts the weary with gentle hands. You do not ask for performance. You ask for presence. You ask that I come just as I am, without the armor of strength I keep trying to wear. So here I am. Not strong. Not composed. Just here. There are moments when I wake up already exhausted, moments when I dread the weight of the day before it even begins. I smile for others, but inside I am counting how many more hours until I can escape again. I try to pray, and the words fall flat. I try to worship, and the songs feel distant. But deep down, there is still a flicker of longing for you, a quiet cry for something deeper. And maybe that is enough. Maybe the desire to reach for you, even in weakness, is itself a kind of strength. Not the kind the world applauds, but the kind you honor. Father, I do not ask you to remove every burden right now, but I ask you to show me how to stop carrying them alone. Teach me how to rest not just physically, but soul deep. Show me what it means to let you be my portion. My breath, my daily bread. I am so used to surviving that I have forgotten how to receive, how to be still, how to let you do the lifting. But I want to learn. Even now, in this moment, I open the clenched fists of my heart and offer you all the places where my strength has collapsed. All the things I have tried to manage on my own. All the responsibilities that were never mine to carry. And in that space, Lord, I ask that you gently remind me of the truth. You never asked me to be strong for you. You never demanded perfection or self-sufficiency. You have always been more interested in my honesty than my performance. You have always drawn near to weakness, not avoided it. You sent help to the weary, not applause to the accomplished. You met people in their lack, not their abundance. And you are still that same God now. You are still near to those who whisper instead of shout, who crawl instead of run, who barely make it through the day and still choose to believe you are with them. So I bring you my exhaustion, not as something to be fixed, but as something to be held. I do not need a quick solution. I need steady presence. I need to know that you see me right here, in this place where I feel stretched thin and poured out. That you are not waiting for me to bounce back, but are already wrapping your grace around every frayed part of me. That you are not counting how many steps I take, but are rejoicing that I have not stopped walking entirely. Give me just enough for today, not the full picture, not the final answer. Just enough light for the next step. Just enough peace to get out of bed. Just enough hope to believe that rest is possible. Remind me that even if I do nothing more today, then whisper your name and breathe in your nearness. It is still enough. That I am still loved. That I am still held. That I am still being carried, even when I can no longer carry anything myself. Let this weakness become a sacred space where you do what only you can do, where you become the strength I could never be, where I learn to stop striving and start surrendering, where I find that falling apart is not the end of faith, but sometimes the doorway into deeper trust. Let this moment, this prayer, this confession of weariness be the beginning of healing I did not know I needed. I do not have much today, Lord, but what I have, I give to you, and I trust that somehow, in your hands, even the weak can rise again. Father, as I sit in the weariness, I finally confess to you. Something unexpected begins to rise. Not energy, not certainty, but release. A gentle, almost unspoken permission to stop carrying what was never mine to hold. And in that space, surrender does not feel like defeat anymore. It feels like oil being poured out. Soft, fragrant, sacred, something wholly wrapped in honesty, something beautiful born from brokenness. I am not letting go because I have given up. I am letting go because I have finally realized you are the one who was meant to carry this all along. I have spent so long trying to be enough for others, enough for myself, enough for you. I thought surrender meant failure, meant giving up the fight, meant stepping away from responsibility. But now, In this quiet space between weakness and trust, I see it differently. Surrender is not quitting. It is choosing to let you in. It is opening the door to a kind of strength that does not come from striving, but from resting in who you are. I do not need to hold the answers anymore. I just need to hold on to you. Lord, I bring you what remains in me, not the part that looks polished from the outside, but the vulnerable, undone part that trembles at the thought of letting go. I bring you the hidden fears that I have wrapped in logic, the disappointment I dressed up as indifference, the control I disguised as planning. I place them at your feet, not to earn anything, but because I no longer want to live like this. I no longer want to guard my heart so tightly that I shut you out of the places that need you most. What I am pouring out is not my strength. It is my need. It is my longing to be known deeper than words can explain. It is the H for a love that does not walk away when I am not impressive. A love that does not flinch when I am messy. A love that stays through every unraveling. And that love is you. You are the one who receives surrender not as weakness, but as worship. You are the one who sees the oil and calls it holy, even when others might overlook it. There is no crowd watching me lay this down. No spotlight. No applause. Just me. And you. And the quiet turning my heart from fear to faith. From grasping to giving. From exhaustion to embrace. I do not surrender because I have to. I surrender because I want to be close to you more than I want to be in control. And I know now that the more I release, the more I make room for you, the more I open my hands, the more I can receive what I could never create on my own. God, if there's any place in me still holding on too tightly any fear that says I will be lost without this grip, touch it gently. Loosen my fingers. Whisper truth where lies have taken root. I do not need to understand everything. I just need to believe that in giving this to you, I am not losing anything that was meant to stay. I am gaining the peace that comes only from resting in your will. I am gaining the clarity that comes only after I stop trying to figure it all out myself. So here it is, God. My surrender. It does not come all at once. It drips out slowly, like oil from a jar. With every breath of trust, every honest moment, every whispered yes. And I choose to believe that you are catching it all, that nothing I pour out is wasted, that every drop is seen, that this quiet offering means more to you than perfection ever could. You do not ask for performance. You ask for presence, for heart, for trust. Let this surrender mark me not with shame, but with freedom. Let it cleanse the places where fear once dictated my decisions. Let it soothe the parts of me that have been burned trying too hard for too long. Let it anoint me for something new, not a platform, not a promise of ease, but a deeper walk with you, one where obedience comes from intimacy, not obligation, where rest comes not from the absence of pressure, but from the nearness of your heart. Father, I lay down the expectations I have placed on myself, and the ones I think you have placed on me. I release the picture of who I thought I had to be by now. I let go of the pressure to have it all together. I choose, instead, to be present, to be available, to be honest. And I trust that you will meet me here, not when I am stronger, not when I am more disciplined, but here, in this sacred moment of surrender. If surrender is oil, let it seep into every part of me. Let it coat the wounds I have hidden. Let it soften the hardness that built up when I was trying to survive. Let it carry the scent of something holy, something fragrant to you, even if it costs me my pride. Let it be the fragrance that rises before the breakthrough. Let it be the offering that precedes the healing. Let it be enough, even if it does not look like much to anyone else. This is my worship, not a song, not a sermon, but a quiet yes, a letting go, a choosing to trust you with what I do not understand, a decision to stop trying to carry what only you can redeem. And I believe that you are not distant in this moment. You are close. You are bending low to receive every drop, every sigh, every surrendered fear. You are here, and that makes this ground holy. So I will stay here a little longer, not to force a feeling, but to honor what is happening in my spirit, to honor the quiet work of your hands in the places no one sees, to honor the mystery of what happens when I choose release over resistance, when I trade control for communion, when I stop holding so tightly to what I thought I needed, and find instead that you are all I need. You have never demanded perfection from me. Only this letting go, this slow exhale, the sacred surrender that turns into oil and rises to your throne as worship, not because I am worthy, but because you are. And because in this surrender, I am learning again what it means to be free. Father, as I continue to rest in the surrender I offered to you, something deeper begins to settle in me, a quiet awareness, like heat rising slowly from glowing embers. I realize that what I am feeling now is not just peace, it is purification, not comfort for the sake of ease, but transformation for the sake of purpose. It is not just that you received what I poured out, it is that you are doing something with it. You are refining me, not with condemnation, but with holy love that refuses to leave me unchanged. I used to think the fire meant failure, that if life was painful or hard, something must be wrong. But I see it differently now. This heat I feel, this pressure around my soul, is not here to destroy me. It is here to define me. It is the mark of a God who cares too much to let me remain untouched by his shaping hand. And I want to trust that fire, not fear it. I want to believe that the same flame that burns away what does not belong is also the flame that awakens what has been buried beneath the surface for too long. Lord, if I am in the fire, then let it refine me. Let it remove what is false, what is fragile, shallow, or rooted in anything less than you. Let it purify my motives. Let it cleanse my fears. Let it melt the walls I have built around my heart to protect myself from hurt, but ended up keeping out healing. Let it reveal the gold you see beneath the ash, even if I have forgotten it is there. I do not want to just survive the fire. I want to come through it changed. I want it to do its work in me, not just around me. You are not a God of random trials. You are a refiner, a careful craftsman, a holy artist who does not waste a single flame. Trust that if you are allowing this fire, it is because you are preparing me for something greater than what I would choose on my own. Something that requires more than surface faith. Something that demands a strength only forged in the heat of surrender. So I open myself fully to it. I say yes to the refining, even when it hurts. Even when it strips away things I thought I needed. Even when it leaves me exposed and unsure. God, teach me to see the fire not as punishment, but as preparation. To see the pressure not as cruelty, but as care. You are not distant while I burn. You are near. You are the refiner standing close, watching with intention, never letting the temperature rise beyond what I can endure. You are not rushed. You are not careless. You hold me with eyes that see not just who I am, but who I am becoming. You know the strength you are stirring up. You know the character you are forming. And you know how much heat is just enough. I do not ask you to take the fire away. I ask you to stay with me in it. Let your presence be the shield that keeps me from being consumed. Let your spirit be the water that cools me when it becomes too much. Let your love be the voice I hear above the crackle and roar. Remind me that you are not finished yet, that this is not the end. That fire does not mean abandonment, it means transformation. And what is being transformed in me is worth the heat. Let this refining reach deep, past the parts of me that look faithful on the outside, past the performance, the good intentions, the quiet pride that sometimes hides behind my prayers. Go deeper. Touch the places I have not shown anyone, the bitterness I tried to ignore, the envy I pretended was not there, the insecurity that keeps whispering lies into my mind. Burn away everything that keeps me from being fully yours. Burn away the fear of being known, the fear of being weak, the fear of being called. I want to be whole, not just healed. I want to be pure, not just presentable. And as the fire does its work, help me to worship, not because I feel strong, but because I trust you are doing something holy. Let my worship rise not from comfort, but from conviction, not from having all the answers, but from knowing the one who holds them. Let my praise become an offering not because the fire is gone, but because you are good in the midst of it. You are worthy, even in the waiting, even in the aching, even when the refining leaves me undone. Father, remind me that fire precedes glory, that before gold shines, it must be refined, that before vessels carry sacred oil, they must be emptied and reshaped. That you are not trying to take something from me, you are making room for something eternal. You are making me ready. You are building capacity in me to carry what I could not have borne in the shallow waters. You are deepening my roots, strengthening my foundation, preparing me for the weight of purpose. So I will not curse the flame. I will not run from the heat. I will stand in it with you, even if I tremble. I will trust that this season is not a setback, it is a sanctification. It is a holy moment disguised as hardship. It is your hand, hidden in the firelight, molding me for more than I imagined. I may not see the fullness of it yet, but I believe you are doing something that will echo long beyond this moment. Something that will bless others. Something that will glorify you. God, if this fire is the way to you, I choose it. I do not choose pain, but I choose the path that leads me deeper into your heart. I choose the process that strips away everything false, so I can stand in truth. I choose the journey that may cost me comfort, but gives me unshakable peace. I choose to trust the refiner, to trust that when the fire is over, I will still be here but different. I will be stronger, softer, purer, ready, and so I stay. I let the fire do what it came to do. I stay in your presence. Even when it is hard, I stay open. Even when it is uncomfortable, I stay surrendered. Even when I want to retreat, because I believe that what comes through the fire will be more beautiful than what I tried to build on my own. I believe that you are not just protecting me from harm, you are preparing me for glory, and I choose to believe that this, too, is love. Not the kind that shields me from the flame, but the kind that stays with me until I come out shining like gold. Lord, after the refining, after the heat of surrender and the ache of transformation, I find myself here in a space that feels strangely still. It is not the same silence I once feared. It is not empty or hollow. It is quiet in a different way. Gentle, open, restful, like the moment just after a long storm when the clouds begin to break and the air shifts. It is in this calm that I realize I am learning to breathe again. Not shallow, survival breaths, but deep ones, slow, honest, healing. Father, I never knew how much my life I lived holding my breath, bracing for what might go wrong, preparing for disappointment. Numb from tension I could not explain. I wore composure like armor, but inside I was constricted. Now, in this space you have made through the fire, I feel something expanding. Not fast, not flashy, just real. It is as if my spirit is exhaling for the first time in a long while, and every breath feels like grace. Every inhale, a reminder that I am still here, that I am allowed to live without fear tightening around my chest. This is unfamiliar, God. Peace has never been something I knew how to hold for long. It always seemed temporary, like a gift I did not deserve to keep. But you are showing me that peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of you. And you are not temporary. You are not fleeting. You do not offer rest like the world does, only to pull it away. You give rest that stays. You give breath that restores. You give stillness that rebuilds. I do not want to rush past this moment. I do not want to skip over the quiet, because I am used to chaos. I want to linger here, even if I do not fully understand what you are doing. I want to feel the rhythm of breathing in your goodness and breathing out everything that used to weigh me down. The guilt, the pressure, the old expectations. Let this breath be the beginning of new patterns. Let it retrain my soul to live from a place of rest instead of urgency. Let it become a daily rhythm, a reminder that I do not need to strive to be loved. I just need to be present. God, show me how to embrace stillness without suspicion. Teach me not to brace for collapse every time something good comes. I have been trained by pain to expect loss. I have been conditioned by disappointment to flinch at hope. But now, you are retraining my heart. You are helping me see that peace is not a trap. It is a promise, a gift from you. Not a reward for perfection, but a result of trust. And I want to trust you, not just in the fire, but in the stillness after it. I want to breathe without fear. I want to live without flinching. There is something sacred about this slowness, something holy about not needing to perform. Just breathe. Just be. And as I breathe, I begin to feel the pieces you have put back together, not in a rush, not in a single breakthrough, but in the quiet unfolding of wholeness. My soul is remembering what it means to feel safe, not because everything makes sense, but because I am not alone. You are here. You are steady. And that changes everything. Let this breath, Lord, become a sanctuary. Let it be the place where I return when the world feels loud again. Let it remind me that rest is not laziness, it is obedience. It is trust in your timing, your presence, your provision. Help me silence the inner voices that equate rest with weakness. Help me believe that healing can come through quiet, that revival does not always need a stage, that strength can rise through stillness. I do not need to run today. I do not need to chase answers or rush through prayer. I need to breathe, and in that breath, I welcome you again, not because you left, but because I am now calm enough to notice. I invite you into every inhale, every pause, every heartbeat that finds its rhythm again. Be in the stillness with me. Be in the quiet recovery. Be in the spaces between thoughts, where fear used to live, but now peace begins to grow. I never realized how much I needed to be gentle with myself until now, until the noise subsided and I could hear the awareness I would ignored. I do not need to shame myself for needing rest. I need to thank you for it. I need to let you lead me like a shepherd, not like a taskmaster. You are not pushing me forward. You are walking beside me. And this breath, this quiet, is part of the journey. It is not a pause in my purpose. It is preparation. Father, if healing comes in layers, then let this breath be one of them. If restoration takes time, then let me not rush what you are doing. Let me honor the process. Let me respect the pace. Let me cherish the quiet as much as I once craved the breakthrough. Because I see now that breakthrough is not always loud. Sometimes, it sounds like a sigh that releases shame. Sometimes, it feels like lungs expanding with hope again. Let my life be shaped by this breath, not just this morning, but every day forward. Let me build from this place, not from old patterns of urgency or fear. Let me speak from this place, so that my words carry peace and not panic. Let me serve from this place, so that I offer rest, not more striving. Let me love from this place, so that I carry wholeness instead of wounds. God, thank you for teaching me that stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness waiting to be known. It is healing in the making. It is you, in the hush after the refining, in the calm after the surrender, in the steady breath of a soul beginning again. This is not the end. This is the beginning of life lived differently. Life that breathes before it speaks, that listens before it acts, that trusts before it sees. And I want that kind of life, not built on urgency, but rooted in rest, not shaped by pressure, but formed in peace, not driven by fear, but moved by the steady rhythm of grace expanding in my chest with every breath I take. Lord, as I continue breathing in the quiet you have given me, I realize that I have arrived somewhere I never thought I would reach. It is not a mountain. It is not a victory parade. It is not even clarity. It is stillness. A calm that does not ask for anything from me. A peace that does not demand performance. It is like walking beside still waters, where even my soul dares to lie down. Not from exhaustion, but from trust. Not from giving up, but from being held. Father, I did not know stillness could feel like this. I thought rest meant waiting for the next storm. I thought calm was just the break between crises. But this stillness carries a different weight, a sacred presence that silences the noise not just around me, but within me. I do not feel empty here. I feel full, yet quiet. A fullness that is not loud, but steady, like a slow stream that has always been flowing, waiting for me to stop long enough to hear it. God, this peace feels like a gift I forgot how to receive. It is not made of grand revelations or emotional highs. It is made of gentle nearness, of the sense that I do not have to earn my way into your arms. I am already here. I have always been here, but I was too tense to recognize it. Now, with the tension unraveled and the fear quieted, I see it clearly. You were never far. I just needed to slow down long enough to feel your closeness. There is no pressure in this place, no rush to fix, to prove, to become. I am allowed to simply be, to exist within the safety of your presence. Like a lamb beside its shepherd, I am not scanning the horizon for threats. I am not rehearsing how to escape. I am lying beside still waters because I finally believe you are watching over me. And that changes how I breathe, how I see, how I trust. I do not need to lead. I only need to follow your voice, which is no longer a shout cutting through chaos, but a whisper carried on the breeze. This is what restoration feels like, not always dramatic, but deep, not instant, but lasting. It does not demand attention. It simply heals. Quietly, kindly, fully, you restore my soul, not by fixing all my circumstances, but by reminding me that you are enough even when nothing else makes sense. You lead me to still waters, not to isolate me, but to calm me, to recalibrate my heart, to remind me that safety is not the absence of struggle, it is the certainty of your nearness. Let this stillness continue its work, Lord. Let it touch the thoughts that still twitch with old fear. Let it reach into the corners of my heart where anxiety once hid and sweep it out gently with peace. Let it speak to every place in me that has lived on high alert, always bracing for disappointment. Let your still waters teach me that I am not living under threat anymore. I am under grace. I am under love. I am surrounded, not by demands, but by mercy. I used to think that slowing down was weakness, that if I was not pushing forward, I was falling behind. But here, in this stillness, I see that what I once called delay was actually design. You were never rushing me to a destination. You were inviting me to sit beside you, to learn how to live in rhythm with your heart, to find that progress is not always movement, sometimes is the pause. Sometimes the miracle is not in momentum, but in rest. And now, as I rest, I hear you more clearly, not because you are speaking louder, but because I am finally quiet enough to listen. Your voice is not booming or demanding. It is steady, peaceful, firm like a gentle stream that never stops flowing. You are not asking me to carry anything right now. You are not pushing me to understand more or do more or be more. You are simply saying, be with me. And in that invitation, I find freedom. Let this peace sink into my bones. Let it become the foundation I walk when the noise returns. Let it be the memory that grounds me when the pace of life tries to pull me back into old patterns. Let it remind me that I do not need to wait for things to be perfect to feel safe. I just need to return to this place where still waters run deep and your presence remains unchanged. I want to build my life from this place, not from the pressure of expectation, but from the peace of knowing I am yours. I want my decisions to flow from stillness, not from stress. I want my relationships to be marked by gentleness, not guarded fear. I want my voice to carry the tone of peace I have found here, not volume, but depth, not force, but grace. Let every part of me be softened by the calm you have given me. This morning, Lord, I do not ask for more. I ask for the ability to remain here, to remain in this posture of stillness, even as the world begins to wake and demand and pull. I ask for the strength to resist the urge to chase what is already mine in you. I ask for the courage to move slowly, intentionally, gently with you beside me. I do not need to grasp or strive. I have nothing to prove. I have only to abide. And abiding feels possible now, not like an impossible discipline, but like a home I have found, a sanctuary not made by hands, but formed in stillness, a place where the shepherd leads, and I follow without fear, a place where the waters are calm, because you are in control, a place where I am reminded, again and again, that my worth is not measured by noise or numbers, but by your love. So I stay here with you a little longer, soaking in what you have been pouring into me. I do not want to hurry. I do not want to miss what you are doing. I do not want to leave this stream of peace for a storm of pressure. Let this stillness settle into the deepest parts of me, not just for today, but for the days to come. Let it become the rhythm of my spirit, the melody behind everything I do, and the quiet strength that holds me when the world gets loud again. You are here. You are enough, and in this calm, I remember how to live again. Father, as I rest beside the still waters where you have invited me to lie down, something even more tender begins to stir. It is not a dramatic shift, not a flood of emotion or a sudden revelation. It is quiet, so quiet I might have missed it if I were not finally still enough to hear. It is a whisper, a soft, steady voice moving through the silence like wind through tall grass, and I know it is you. Not shouting, not demanding, just present, just whispering, just enough Lord, you could speak in thunder if you wanted to. You could shake mountains or split skies. But instead, you choose this gentle, barely there murmur that finds its way to the most hidden places in my soul. It does not overwhelm. It does not push. It simply waits for me to lean in. And in that leaning, I discover something sacred. You are not trying to prove your power. You are offering your presence. You are speaking to me in a way that requires closeness, intimacy, trust. I remember now that you have always moved like this, not always in the loud or the obvious, but in the subtle, the quiet alignment of things, the nudge that keeps me from stepping where I do not belong, the peace that settles when I do not understand but choose to trust. You are not absent in the silence. You are simply whispering, and I am learning to listen, learning to slow down enough to recognize your voice not as noise, but as guidance. God, I do not want to miss what you are saying because I am too busy looking for something louder. I do not want to overlook your nearness because I was expecting a sign instead of a sound. Train my heart to be attentive to your whisper. Let me hear it when I am afraid. Let me hear it when I am distracted. Let me hear it when I am making decisions and when I am simply walking through ordinary moments. Let me recognize you in the wind, the same wind that once parted seas, the same breath that brings life. Your whisper brings more than information. It brings alignment, adjusts my posture. It reminds me who I am and, more importantly, who you are. It does not carry condemnation. It carries clarity. It does not confuse. It confirms. When you whisper, it feels like truth finding its way home inside me. It cuts through the clutter I did not even know was there. It calls me back to who I was before fear tried to redefine me, before awareness dulled my senses, before striving buried my joy. Lord, help me guard this ability to hear you. Help me protect this sensitivity as something precious. I do not want to become desensitized again. I do not want to let the volume of life drown out the sound of your heart. The world shouts constantly, and its noise demands attention, but your whisper invites trust. It asks for stillness. It calls for surrender. It beckons me into deeper waters where I walk not by what I see or hear externally, but by what I know to be true in my spirit. If I ever feel lost again, let it be your whisper that guides me back. If I wander into places where the noise becomes too loud, remind me that your voice is not far, it is just quiet. And I need only to still myself to hear it again. Let this become a practice, not a rare encounter. Let it become the language between us, that even when I can't explain why I choose a certain path or wait when others rush ahead, I will know in my bones that it is because I heard you. There is safety in your whisper, not because it gives me a map, but because it tells me you are near. I do not need the whole plan. I just need the next step, and you give it, softly, like light spilling through the cracks of my assumptions. I do not always recognize it at first, but over time, I learn that peace always follows when I obey. That even when it feels risky, obedience to the whisper leads to life. It leads to depth. It leads to you. Father, let me be a person who listens well, who does not rush past your voice in pursuit of my own ideas, who does not substitute noise for discernment, who does not confuse volume with value. I want to be led by your whisper, not just in the big decisions, but in the daily ones, when to speak, when to stay quiet, when to move, when to wait, when to reach out, when to let go. Let me lean into you like a branch bending to the wind, not resisting, but responding. I believe, God, that some of the most important words you have spoken to me have not come in crowds or moments of inspiration. They have come in the quiet, early hours, in the middle of a mundane task, in the pause between tears and resolve. Words like wait, trust, forgive, rest, begin again. I almost missed them, but they changed everything. They did not shake the world, but they shifted my heart, and I am learning now that those small shifts often lead to the biggest growth. Let me not seek you in volume, but in substance. Let me not chase signs and wonders when you are already speaking in the wind. Let me believe that the one who whispered the stars into being still speaks in quiet ways to the hearts he loves. You are not hiding. You are not far. You are close enough to whisper, and that means I am close enough to hear. So I will keep my heart open and my spirit quiet. I will make room each morning for stillness, not just to speak, but to listen. I will not fill every space with words or questions. I will let there be silence if silence is where you are speaking. I will trust that your whisper carries power no shout could ever match, because it reaches the places shouting can't touch. It moves the things noise cannot change, and it heals in ways only intimacy can. You are here, God, whispering to me in the wind, and I am finally learning how to hear you again, not with my ears alone, but with my heart, not with effort, but with openness, not through striving, but through stillness. And in that whisper, I find what I have been longing for all along, not just answers, but you, only you, God. Even as I begin to recognize your whisper in the stillness, I can also feel another sound rising, quieter at first, but persistent. It does not come from outside. It comes from within. It is the voice I have heard for years, the one that speaks not peace but conflict. It is the inner critic, the self-doubt, the shadow that lingers even after the light has come. I thought if I heard you clearly enough, it would disappear, but now I understand something deeper. This, too, is a battle one not fought with hands, but within the heart. Father, this battle is not loud or obvious. It does not always show up in moments of crisis. Sometimes it creeps in during the ordinary, when I am brushing my teeth, answering emails, or trying to fall asleep. It whispers lies I thought I had already silenced. You are not enough. You are not doing enough. You are falling behind. You will never change. I do not want to believe them, but some days they feel more familiar than truth. Some days they feel like me. Lord, I need you here, not just in the quiet field of stillness, but in the gritty soil of my inner struggle. I need you in the parts of me that still war against the peace you have planted. Because even though I have tasted rest, I still wrestle. Even though I have heard your whisper, the echo of fear has not vanished. I do not want to be ashamed of this tension anymore. I want to invite you into it. I want to fight from a place of knowing I am not alone. This battle, God, is not about my enemies. It is about my thoughts, my tendencies, my deeply rooted patterns that try to sabotage what you are building in me. I can sense the difference now, the difference between conviction and condemnation. Your voice draws me near, even when it corrects. The voice within tries to push me into hiding, even when it sounds logical. But I am learning, slowly, that not every thought belongs to me, and not every thought deserves a seat at the table. Give me discernment, Lord, to separate truth from torment. Teach me how to take every thought captive, not in fear, but in faith. I do not want to be ruled by old narratives. I want to rewrite them with you. I want to trade the story of shame for one of redemption, the pattern of panic for one of peace, the rhythm of resistance for one of surrender. This is where the real battle lies, not in what happens around me, but in what I believe about myself in those moments. Help me recognize when I am agreeing with things you never said. Help me see when I am aligning my heart with words that do not come from heaven. The voice that says I have to earn love. The whisper that tells me rest is dangerous. The undertone of guilt when I say no, or when I choose healing over hustle. These are not from you. You do not lead with fear. You lead with freedom. And freedom does not just change what I do, it transforms how I think. Father, I give you permission to enter the battlefield of my mind, to walk through the tangled lies and shine light on what needs to be uprooted. I know some of these thoughts won't disappear overnight. I know some have lived in me for years, but I trust you to be gentle and thorough. I trust you to tear down without destroying, to rebuild with love. I want to partner with you in this process, not by striving to think perfectly, but by surrendering my need to control the narrative. Let truth become louder than fear. Let grace speak more clearly than guilt. Let love rise stronger than shame. When I forget who I am, remind me, not by shouting over the noise, but by sitting with me in the middle of it. Let your truth settle like an anchor in the storm of my thoughts. Let it hold me steady when the wind of insecurity picks up. Let it remind me that I am not defined by the thoughts that visit, but by the one who lives in me, God. I know this battle will not always look like victory. Some days I will lose ground. Some days I will believe the wrong voice. Some days I will forget what you said. But even then, you won't walk away. You will remind me that progress is not linear, that growth is often unseen, that healing does not mean I never struggle. It means I learn how to fight with hope instead of fear. I ask that you strengthen my inner being, not with cold resilience, but with rooted confidence, a knowing that I am loved, even in the tension, a trust that you are not disappointed in the wrestling. You are proud of the fight I am learning to wage with truth. You are proud of the small victories, choosing prayer instead of panic, speaking life instead of criticism, resting instead of reacting. These are not small things in your eyes. They are battles won, Teach me how to build inner altars of remembrance in these places. Remind me to celebrate every moment I choose peace over panic, stillness over striving, grace over guilt. These are holy moments. These are markers of the transformation you are working in me. I may not see the full picture yet, but I trust that with every surrendered thought, you are making me new. You are renewing my mind. One breath, one battle, one belief at a time. And when I get tired, when the weight of the battle feels too much, let me remember that I do not fight alone. Let me feel you beside me not as a distant observer, but as a present defender. Let me hear your voice over all others. Let me know you as the one who never grows weary of teaching me how to live in truth, who never condemns me for having to learn again, who never stops calling me beloved even when I forget how to believe it myself. This inner battle is not a sign that I am failing. It is a sign that I am healing, that I am waking up to what matters, that I am beginning to live with intention instead of instinct, with clarity instead of chaos. And in that awakening, I know you are right here, leading me through every thought, every fear, every silent fight. You are not afraid of the mess within. You step into it with grace, and that alone gives me strength to rise again. Father, now that I have begun to face the battles inside the thoughts, the doubts, the hidden wars that rage beneath the surface, I know I cannot walk forward without protection. Not the kind the world offers, not thick walls or sharp words or masks I wear to keep others from seeing me too closely. I need something deeper. I need what only you can give. I need the armor of the Spirit not as decoration, but as necessity, not to appear strong, but to stand in the strength that comes from you alone. Lord, I no longer want to live defenseless. I do not want to walk through life exposed to lies, vulnerable to fear, unaware of the subtle ways the enemy creeps in. This battle is not just emotional or mental, it is spiritual. And because it is spiritual, it must be fought with weapons not made by human hands. I can win this fight by trying harder or thinking smarter. I can outwit shame or outrun fear, but I can stand, covered in what you have provided: truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, and the Word. Clothe me today, God. Start with the belt of truth. Wrap it tightly around the places where confusion has lived. Let it be the core that holds me together when the world tries to tear me apart. Let it remind me of who I am, whose I am, and what is real. Let it silence the noise of half-truths and twisted words that try to pull me away from the foundation of who you are. Let it anchor me when my thoughts want to drift into uncertainty. Place on me the breastplate of righteousness, not my own, not earned or deserved, but given. Let it guard my heart from guilt and self-condemnation. Let it protect the most vulnerable parts of me from being pierced by regret or the fear of not measuring up. Let it remind me that I am covered, not because of what I have done, but because of what Jesus has done for me. When I forget that I am made clean, help me feel the weight of this armor against my chest, a shield for my worth. Prepare my feet with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. I have spent too much time running in fear, pacing in worry, and chasing validation. Now, I want to walk with purpose. I want to move with stability. Let peace guide my steps, not false peace that avoids conflict, but real peace that stands firm in the truth of who you are. Let it guide my reactions, my words, my decisions. Let it root me in assurance, so that no matter what ground I step on, I carry your presence with me. Lift over me the shield of faith. Let it be my defense against the darts I cannot predict. When discouragement flies like arrows, or insecurity rises like a wave, let my faith extinguish their impact. Even when the shield feels heavy, let me remember that it is not meant to be perfect, it is meant to be raised. Faith is not about never doubting. It is about choosing to believe anyway. Help me lift it again and again, even on the days I feel tired. Let me believe that you are who you say you are, and that your promises are still true for me. Place on my head the helmet of salvation. Guard my mind. Lord, protect my thoughts from spiraling into fear or despair. Cover me with the truth that I am already rescued, already redeemed, already yours. When anxiety tries to settle in, let the helmet remind me that my story is secure in your hands, that I do not need to rehearse every possible outcome, because you have already written the final word over my life. Let salvation become not just something I believe, but something I wear with confidence every day. And finally, God, place in my hands the sword of the Spirit, your word, not as a weapon to harm, but as truth that cuts through lies, as light that exposes darkness, as hope that pushes back despair. Teach me how to wield it gently, boldly, faithfully. Let your word become my language, my response, my compass. Let it sink so deeply into me that it shapes how I see, how I speak, how I stand. Let me speak it when fear rises. Let me whisper it when I am weary. Let me carry it like breath in my lungs, not just in my memory, but in my movement. This armor is not just for moments of crisis. It is for everyday life, for conversations that test my patience, for thoughts that pull me away from peace, for situations that stir old wounds, for unexpected news and subtle temptations. This armor is not meant to be taken off when the pressure eases. It is my covering in both battle and rest. It reminds me that I am never truly unarmed, that even when I feel unprepared, I have everything I need to stand. Lord, help me not only wear this armor, but trust it. Help me not treat it like a last resort, but like the first thing I reach for. Help me put it on not out of fear, but with reverence, with understanding, with joy. This armor is not a burden, it is a gift. It is how you have chosen to protect me, equip me, and empower me to walk through this world with courage and peace. Let this armor shape how I carry myself. Let it influence how I love others, how I respond to criticism, how I endure difficulty. Let it remind me that I am not just surviving, I am standing. Not just holding on, I am held. You have made provision for everything I face, and I do not have to face any of it alone. So today, I step into the world clothed not in fear, but in faith, not in defense mechanisms, but in divine armor. I do not walk into battle hoping I am strong enough. I walk knowing I am protected by you. I am not exposed. I am covered. I am not overwhelmed. I am equipped. I am not forgotten. I am chosen. And in this armor, I am able to withstand whatever comes, not because I am powerful, but because you are. And you walk with me into every hour of this day. Lord, now that I am covered in the armor you have so freely given, I find myself standing not in my own strength, but in something deeper, firmer, unshakable. It is not just protection I wear, it is purpose. And with each breath, I begin to understand that the armor is not only for defending against what comes against me. It is also to help me stand firm on what you have spoken, what you have promised, what you have declared over my life long before I ever saw any of it unfold. Father, I remember now that you are not a God of vague intentions or shifting shadows. You are a God of covenant, of spoken word, of truth that holds even when everything else trembles. You have made promises, not only to the world, but to me. And those promises are not like the kind people make and forget. They are rooted in eternity, anchored in love, and sealed with grace. You do not speak just to comfort. You speak to create. And what you speak does not return empty. God, sometimes I forget what you have said, not because I doubt you, but because the waiting gets long. The battles get loud, and the delays make me question whether I heard you right in the first place. But this morning, I choose to remember. I choose to return to the words you whispered into my heart when all I had was hope and a quiet yes. I choose to believe again, not because I see it yet, but because you said it. You told me I would heal. You told me I would grow. You told me I would walk free. You told me you would be with me in every season. And even when circumstances try to paint a different picture, your voice still speaks louder. Even when the evidence around me seems to contradict the dream, I hold to the truth that what you start, you finish. What you plant, you grow. What you promise, you fulfill. Let me not measure your faithfulness by my timeline. Let me not define success by what is visible. Teach me, Lord, to see with eyes of faith, to trust that what is being built beneath the surface is just as real, perhaps even more so than what I long to see above it. Some seeds take time. Some promises come slowly. Not because you are stalling, but because you are strengthening what must support the blessing when it arrives. Today, I choose to stand not in wishful thinking, but in the certainty of your word. I speak back to every lie with what you have declared. When fear says I won't make it, I say you are my sustainer. When shame whispers I am not worthy, I say you call me chosen. When doubt questions if anything will ever change, I say you are working even now. When exhaustion tells me to quit, I say you are the one who renews my strength. Father, help me to write these promises on the walls of my mind and the gates of my heart, not as slogans, but as sacred truths. Let me wake with them, walk with them, wage war with them. Let them shape my posture and my words. Let them guide my expectations. Let them become the lens through which I view every trial, every delay, every door that has not yet opened. I do not want to be tossed by every wave of emotion or every shift in circumstance. I want to be grounded in you. Show me how to keep standing even when it is hard, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when others move forward faster, even when it looks like I have been forgotten. Show me that faith is not just about leaping sometimes, it is about remaining. Remaining when it would be easier to run. Remaining when silence stretches long. Remaining when I feel unseen. Because you see, you know, you remember, and you are not late. Let your promises be my foundation. Let them be the ground beneath my feet when the world feels uncertain. Let them be my compass when the path looks unfamiliar. Let them be the whisper I return to when fear tries to lead me elsewhere. I want to stand not halfway, not with one foot out the door, but fully planted, secure, rooted, steady. And while I stand, remind me that this place is not passive, is not stagnant. It is the posture of trust, the decision to believe before the breakthrough, the daily choice to act like the promise is true before I hold it in my hands. Standing means waiting with expectation, loving without hesitation, serving without needing applause, moving forward one step at a time. Not because I see everything, but because I trust you with everything. Lord, if I ever forget again, bring me back to this place, the place where I stop striving and start standing, where I stop wondering if you will show up and start remembering that you always have. You are not silent. You are not distant. You are not reluctant. You are faithful. And everything you have said will come to pass, not because I deserve it, but because it is who you are. So today, I will not retreat. I will not sink back into doubt or weariness. I will not let comparison steal my focus. I will not let delays speak louder than destiny. I will plant both feet in what you have spoken. I will hold fast to your word like an anchor. I will keep my eyes on the horizon, not because I am waiting for proof, but because I believe the dawn is coming. It always does. You always bring light, and in that light, everything becomes clear again. Let the winds come. Let the pressure rise. Let the wait stretch longer than I hoped. I will still stand, not in my name, not my might, but on the promise of the one who never lies, the one who finishes what he begins, the one who is both the author and the sustainer of every dream he births. I trust you, God. I trust what you have said, and I will keep standing until I see it, and even after, because I am held by the promise, and more than that, I am held by you. Lord, if standing on your promise is the ground beneath me, then trusting you with what I cannot see is the breath I must take as I move forward. From the last quiet moment I spent with you, I feel that weight, the beautiful, holy weight of surrender deepening, because trust is not simply about believing you will act. It is about giving you space to move in ways I did not expect and on a timeline I would not choose. It is about walking into today with open hands, not clenched fists. Father, as I hold steady in what you have spoken, I now face the vastness of what you have not yet revealed. The unknown, the uncertain, the spaces where I have no answers, no clarity, and no control. Those are the places where fear tries to rise again, whispering that I am unprepared, unequipped, or forgotten. But you gently remind me that what feels unknown to me is never unknown to you. Not one detail escapes your notice. Not one twist in the path takes you by surprise. So I lean into that truth, God. I breathe it in slowly. I let it wash over the anxieties that try to collect in the quiet corners of my mind. I bring you all my what-ifs, the ones I never say out loud. The ones I bury beneath performance and planning. What if I fail? What if I am wrong? What if the door does not open? What if I am not enough for what is ahead? I lay every single one of them down now, not because they do not feel real, but because they do not get to define what is real. Only you do. You are the God who goes before me, not just beside me. You are already in every tomorrow I will ever walk into. You have already seen the tears I have not cried, the detours I have not taken, the breakthroughs I have not dared to hope for. And you are not just present in those moments. You are preparing them. You are shaping them. You are setting them up for my good and your glory. Even when I do not understand, I can rest in your understanding. Even when I have no map, I have a guide who never missteps. Father, let this day be shaped not by my need to predict it, but by my choice to trust you with it. I surrender the urge to figure everything out before it begins. I surrender the pressure to perform with perfection. I surrender the narrative that tells me I must earn stability by never faltering. I will not idolize control. I will not worship certainty. I will worship you instead, the God who brings order out of chaos, peace out of confusion, and beauty out of every moment I thought was lost. Help me to move through this day not with timidity, but with quiet confidence. Confidence not in outcomes, but in your character, not in closed loops, but in open faith. If the answers come, I will praise you. If they do not, I will still praise you. Because praise is not a transaction, it is a relationship. It is a rhythm I choose in both darkness and light. And that rhythm reminds me, I am never navigating the unknown alone. Give me grace, Lord, to welcome the mysteries, to sit in the questions without panic, to embrace the journey without needing to see the entire destination. Because you are not just the God of arrivals. You are the God of process, of becoming, of leading me from glory to glory. Even when the space between feels like wandering, teach me to find wonder there. Not worry. Let awe replace anxiety. Let peace expand in the tension. Let joy rise in the absence of certainty. Remind me that trust is not passive, it is active. It is the way I show up today with my head lifted, my heart expectant, my soul anchored. I will work, speak, serve, love, and show up fully, not because I have mapped out every possible scenario, but because I believe you are already in it all, even if the day takes a turn I did not expect. You won T. You will be just as faithful at sunset as you are right now in this moment. God, protect me from trying to define you by my limited understanding. You are too vast for that. Too kind. Too intentional. Too loving. I refuse to reduce you to the size of my fears, I refuse to hold back my worship until you reveal more. I will trust you in the now, with the not yet, with the still waiting, with the maybe never. You are still good, still sovereign, still worthy. Nothing that comes against me will alter that truth. Let this trust become my posture, not a momentary decision, but a lifestyle. Let it quiet my complaints and steady my reactions. Let it change how I treat others, how I handle pressure, how I respond to disappointment. Let it be my shield when doubt creeps in. Let it be my song when things do not go as planned. Let it be my offering on days when I feel empty. Because trust is not only what I offer you, it is what you cultivate in me. Father, lead me gently today. And when the fog sets in, and I cannot see more than the next step, teach me to love that one step, to cherish it, to walk it slowly with gratitude, to find you in it. Because you are not just at the end of the road, waiting with answers. You are right here in the middle of the mystery, whispering comfort, releasing courage, walking with me. That changes everything. So I take a breath again. I release the weight of needing to know. I choose to believe that peace is not the absence of unknowns, but the presence of your hand in the middle of them. I refuse to be driven by fear or paralyzed by uncertainty. I will move forward with joy, not because I understand the path, but because I know the one who paved it. And in the quiet corners of this day, when fear tries to reintroduce itself, I will return here. I will return to trust. I will return to the voice that never lies, to the heart that never fails, to the promise that never breaks. I will say again, as many times as it takes, you know, God, you go before me, and that is enough. Father, when I quiet myself long enough to notice the stirrings within, I begin to feel the subtle H that follows me even into the still moments. It is the part of me that longs for safety, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and even in the fragile places I try to hide. From where I left off, holding on to trust in the unknown, I now ask you for something deeper. Not just courage to keep walking forward, but the peace to stay rooted while doing so. A peace that guards, holds, and restores what the world so easily bruises. God, you see how quickly my heart reacts to things I cannot control. A stray comment, a sudden shift, an unexpected silence. My spirit flinches even before I fully understand why. And in those moments, I forget I am allowed to be still, that I do not need to defend my worth, prove my value, or explain my pain. I forget that your peace is not something I have to manufacture. It is something I receive. A shield, not a strategy. A gift, not a performance. Lord, guard my heart today like only you can. There are places within me that feel tender, where old wounds still whisper, and fresh hope is still growing. I ask that you wrap those parts in gentleness. Don't let me harden just to survive. Let me be protected without being closed. Let me be wise without becoming weary. Let me be guarded without being distant. Help me to live with both strength and softness, to walk through this day with the confidence of one who is deeply loved and fully known. You know the exact words I need to hear before they are ever spoken. So instead of bracing for the worst, help me listen for your voice through it all. Instead of defending myself, let me dwell in the safety of your presence. Instead of overthinking every glance, silence, or shift in tone, let me return to the certainty of your affection. I am not abandoned. I am not at war with the world. I am a child of peace, and you are my peace. I ask you to be the guard over my reactions. When I am tempted to take offense, teach me to pause. When my ego is provoked, teach me to humble myself. When I feel misunderstood, teach me to anchor in what you know to be true. Because so often, it is not the storm outside that steals my calm, it is the storm inside. My assumptions, my fears, my need to be in control. But you, Lord, are not rattled by any of it. You wait patiently for me to come back to the calm only you can provide. Let today be a day of inner stillness. Not because everything around me is peaceful, but because I have chosen to carry peace within. Let me bring it into every room I enter, every conversation I have, every conflict I encounter. Not the kind of peace that avoids truth or denies pain, but the kind that stands firm, steady, and sure. Let my presence remind others that peace is possible not because of me, but because of the one who holds me. If I am hurt today, help me not to turn bitter. If I am disappointed, help me not to close off. If I am celebrated, help me to stay grounded. If I am overlooked, help me to remember my worth does not shrink. Let peace be my response in every situation, not silence born from fear, but stillness anchored in trust. Not apathy, but grace. Not avoidance, but wisdom. I ask you to protect my mind as well, from the spiral of anxious thoughts, from the lies that try to take root, from the pressure to compare or compete. Let me take every thought captive to the truth of who you say I am. Let my focus return to you again and again. You are not far away. You are not a distant observer. You are the keeper of my heart, and no part of me is too messy for your peace to reach. Give me eyes to recognize the small mercies you place along the way. The light through the window, the kindness of a stranger, the quiet moments of clarity between the noise. Let me not rush past these gentle reminders of your presence. They are not random. They are love notes in my day, anchors in my storm, breadcrumbs leading me back to you. And with each one, my heart learns again how to breathe easy, how to rest, how to dwell secure. Let my peace not depend on explanations or outcomes. Let it be rooted in your unchanging nature. Even when nothing makes sense, you do. Even when I do not feel strong, you are. Even when things feel fragile, you are unbreakable. So guard me not just from harm, but from hopelessness. Guard me not just from danger, but from discouragement. Guard me not just from the world, but from the inner voices that tell me I am not enough. Help me to walk into this day without armor that weighs me down. Instead, clothe me with compassion, humility, patience, and love. Let those be the things that shield me. Let forgiveness be my protection against bitterness. Let understanding be my defense against judgment. Let joy be the wall that keeps out despair. Let gratitude be the door that keeps opening again and again to your goodness. Even in the places where I have been broken before, let peace rise again. Even in the places where I have doubted, let trust grow again. Even in the places where I once felt abandoned, let love pour in again. I do not need every answer to have assurance. I do not need every step mapped out to feel safe. I only need to know that you are here and that you are guarding me with something stronger than fear. So as I move forward into the hours ahead, let nothing steal the peace that you have placed in me. Not hurried schedules, not angry words, not unspoken expectations, not my own internal storms. Let the peace I carry be louder than the chaos I face. Let it be the banner I lift, the gift I offer, and the legacy I leave behind in every space I inhabit today. I am yours, Lord. Guard my heart and lead me in peace. Lord, as I carry this peace you have planted within me, I realize how easily it can be drowned out not just by noise around me, but by the whirlwind inside my own thoughts, from the guarded stillness of my heart that I entrusted to you. I now long to go deeper into that place where my soul can hear again. Not hear the chaos, not the anxious thoughts or the rehearsed fears, but hear you, your whisper, your truth, your nearness that is never absent, even when my awareness is. Father, I have grown used to listening for solutions, for validation, for signs that I am on the right path. But what I really need is to listen for you, not just to hear what you might say about my future or my worries, but to feel what you are already speaking in the quiet parts of this moment. Teach me to lean into that quiet without rushing through it. I do not want to miss the treasures you hide in silence simply because I am more comfortable with noise. You know how often I fill the silence with my own reasoning. I fill it with doubts disguised as planning. I fill it with fears disguised as preparation. I fill it with stories I tell myself just to feel in control. But your voice is not found in the storm or the fire or the earthquake. It comes in the still small whisper, one that waits for me to stop running and sit long enough to hear again. Let today be that kind of day where I stop trying to manage it all and simply wait on you. There is a part of me that still believes I must be doing something to be worthy of your attention. But you remind me that my value is not found in constant motion. It is found in my being, in my breath, in the very fact that I am yours. So as I inhale, teach me to listen. As I exhale, teach me to trust. Let the rhythm of my breathing remind me that I was made to be connected to you, moment by moment, not just when I am asking for help, but also when I am simply present. God, show me how to listen not only with my ears, but with my spirit. Let me hear you in the rustling leaves, in the hush of morning light, in the pauses between words. Let me recognize your kindness in the gentle glance of a friend, in the way a moment of calm unexpectedly finds me in the middle of a crowded day. You are speaking, always speaking, but I have been too busy performing to realize that your voice has always been near. Give me the courage to be still, not still with expectation, not still to earn clarity, but still because you are worthy of my undivided attention. Let me be the one who stops amid the swirl of demands and dares to listen. The one who opens her heart not to be fixed, but to be held. Let me be content in knowing that even if you say nothing new today, your silence is not absence. It is sacred space. It is you being with me without needing to explain yourself. And when you do speak, let me hear you clearly, not just in the grand revelations, but in the soft reminders. The reminder that I am loved, that I belong, that I do not have to outrun grace or outwork mercy, that even when nothing changes on the outside, everything is different because you are here on the inside. Let those truths shape how I walk, how I think, how I respond. Let listening to you become more important than being understood by others. Help me also to listen before I speak today, before I react, before I offer my opinion, before I assume. Let my words be slower, softer, more deliberate. Not every silence must be filled. Not every tension must be solved. Teach me the wisdom of holding space for others without rushing to fix them. Teach me to honor their pain without inserting my own. Let my presence be a safe place, because I have first made space for you. There is a world of noise outside these walls. Voices telling me who to be, what to fear, how to win, and what success looks like. But your voice never pressures. It invites. It draws me in without demanding. It lifts me without shaming. It corrects without crushing. And it always leaves me more whole than it found me. Teach me to return to that voice every time I feel lost. Let your tone become the one I measure all other voices against. I ask that you fine-tune my spirit to recognize what is truly from you. Filter out the lies that masquerade as logic. Remove the fear that disguises itself as caution. Strip away the pride that sounds like self-reliance. Let what remains be simple and sacred truth that is gentle yet firm, conviction that is tender yet clear, and guidance that always leads me closer to freedom, not deeper into striving. Even in disappointment, let me hear what you are doing. Even when you close a door, let me listen for the sound of something new beginning. Even in waiting, let me hear the hum of your presence holding me steady. I do not need all the answers to know I am not alone. I just need to hear the one voice that quiets every fear, settles every question, and restores every broken piece with one word. Let listening become my worship today, not passive waiting, but intentional nearness. Let my day be shaped less by schedules and more by sacred pauses, moments where I step back, slow down, and make room for you to remind me who I really am. Let those moments build the kind of peace that is not shaken by circumstances, because it is grounded in relationship, not results. And when I feel the tug to rush ahead, pull me back with a whisper. When I am tempted to speak too soon, hush me with your gentleness. When I grow weary of waiting, remind me that you are not slow, you are intentional. And when I grow anxious from not knowing, teach me again how to sit in the stillness and simply be. Thank you for being a God who speaks with kindness, who listens with love, and who never demands that I be perfect to receive your presence. Let my soul settle into the quiet where you meet me, not with pressure, but with peace. I do not need to perform today. I only need to return, again and again, to the sound of your heart beating steadily beside mine. Father, as I rest in the stillness you have invited me into, I find myself becoming more aware of the way I carry myself through the world. The quiet has helped me listen more closely to you, and now I feel you gently drawing me toward how I respond, how I move, how I treat others in the spaces I enter. This awareness is not loud or demanding. It flows from the peace you have planted in me, and it stirs a desire to carry that peace outward. I want to walk in grace today, not just receive it. God, give me the strength to be gentle in a world that celebrates sharpness. Let me lead with mercy instead of power, to show kindness where irritation might feel justified, and to offer patience in moments when everything around me calls for haste. Grace is not weakness. I see now that it requires more strength to respond with love when I have been overlooked, more courage to remain soft when life tempts me to harden. I do not want to just admire gentleness from afar. I want to embody it, live it, and bring it into every place I go today. Teach me that grace is not something I give when I feel like it. It is something I carry because you gave it to me first, without condition. Let that truth anchor me in every interaction. When I feel the urge to defend myself too quickly or prove my worth, whisper gently to my spirit that I am already secure in you. I do not need to dominate to be seen. I do not need to win to matter. My identity is not at risk when others misunderstand me, because you know me fully and love me completely. Lord, remind me that gentleness is not passivity. It is power that chooses restraint. Let me choose to respond, not react. Let my tone carry calm, not control. Let my words build, not bruise. And when I find myself stepping into environments filled with tension, teach me how to carry the kind of quiet strength that steadies rather than stirs, that invites rather than intimidates. Help me to offer grace to the people closest to me, not just strangers, but those in my home, my family, the ones who often receive the least of my kindness, because I assume they already know my heart. Let me not reserve my best self for the outside world while withholding gentleness from those who matter most. May I love with intention, even in the smallest gestures, especially when no one else is watching. Father, give me the grace to pause before judgment. When I encounter someone whose actions I do not understand, remind me that I do not know their full story. Let me trade assumptions for curiosity, impatience for compassion. Let me remember that people are more than their worst moments, and that healing is often messy and slow. Help me speak in ways that call people back to wholeness, not shame them into silence. When I fail, and I know I will teach me to give grace to myself too. Not excuses, not avoidance, but real grace that owns the mistake and welcomes growth. Let me speak to my own heart the way you do, truthfully, but tenderly. Correct me, but do not let me crush myself. Help me to remember that your mercy is new this morning, not because I earned it, but because you are faithful. Let my presence today be a shelter for others. May people feel safe to be real around me, not because I have all the answers, but because I hold space without judgment. Let me be the person who listens more than I lecture, who chooses humility over the need to be right, who walks slowly enough to notice when someone else is hurting. Help me to carry gentleness as a posture, not just a response. Let it be the way I move, not just how I react. There will be moments, Lord, when I will be tempted to mirror the energy around me. When someone is harsh, I might feel the pull to match their intensity. When someone is rude, I may want to shut down. When someone disappoints me, I will be tempted to withdraw. But remind me in those moments that I am not called to mirror this world. I am called to reflect you, and you are never hurried, never harsh, never withholding of kindness. Even when my own needs feel urgent, help me not to trample others in the name of efficiency. Let me slow down enough to see people as sacred, not as obstacles or tasks to be managed. Let my priorities reflect your heart, not just my own agenda. Show me how to choose love when it is inconvenient, to extend grace when it costs me time or energy or recognition. Father, protect my gentleness from being drained by cynicism. When I see injustice, let me respond with righteous compassion, not bitter resignation. When I experience pain, let it deepen my empathy, not harden my heart. Let me carry both conviction and kindness, both courage and compassion. And when I do not know how to do both, teach me to stay close to you and let you lead. You do not ask me to do this alone. You walk beside me, offering grace for every step. And when I stumble, you are not disappointed, you are present. You lift me, you teach me, and you remind me that this life of love is a process, not a performance. Let me walk through today with open hands and a quiet spirit, confident not in my own ability, but in your nearness. I surrender the urge to prove myself. I release the need to be perfect. I lay down the armor I have used to protect myself and ask you to clothe me with compassion instead. Let my strength come from being rooted in your love, not from how loud I speak or how hard I push. Teach me to move through today with grace woven into every word, every decision, every interaction. As the sun rises higher and the world stirs with its expectations, anchor me in this truth. I am loved, I am held. I am invited to live differently, not louder, not harsher, not faster, but gentler. And that gentleness is not a weakness to be hidden, but a strength that heals and points others to you. So let me walk now into whatever comes next, carrying the fragrance of your mercy with every step I take. Lord, as I continue walking in the rhythm of grace you have been teaching me, my heart begins to stir with memories I have not fully released. The stillness makes space for things long buried to rise again, not to haunt me, but perhaps to be healed. I feel you're nudged toward a deeper place now, one that I have tried to avoid because it is tender and uncomfortable. But I trust you, so I lead in, even when it is hard. I bring before you the places where forgiveness feels unfinished, the spaces within me still shaped by wounds I carry like invisible weight. Father, help me begin by being honest. There are people whose words still echo in my mind with sharpness. There are moments that resurface without warning, tight knots in my chest reminding me I have not let go. I confess that sometimes I want to hold on to the hurt because it feels like protection. If I release it, who will see what was done? who will understand how deep it went. But you see, you know, and you are not asking me to forget. You are asking me to be free. So here I am with clenched hands and a trembling heart, asking for the courage to forgive, not because they deserve it, not because what happened was right, but because I cannot carry this anymore. The anger, the disappointment, the unresolved tension, it leaks into places where joy should be. It clouds my clarity, steals my peace, and makes me less present in the life you have given me. I want to be free. Lord, teach me how. God, remind me that forgiveness is not a single moment, but a journey. Some days I will feel lighter, and other days the weight may return. On those days, remind me to bring it back to you again, to place the burden in your hands once more. Let me forgive as often as needed, not to dismiss what happened, but to choose healing over bitterness. Show me that each act of release is a step closer to the life you created me to live, unbound, unburdened, unchained. Give me a heart that does not need revenge to feel whole. Help me trust that justice belongs to you, not to me. You are not a God who ignores wrongs, but you are also not a God who wants me imprisoned by them. Let me give you the right to deal with what I cannot control. Let me stop rehearsing what I wish I had said. Let me stop nursing the wound as if it will fix what is broken. Instead, pour your healing oil over the H and teach me to walk forward even if no apology ever comes. Lord, show me how to forgive people who are no longer in my life. Sometimes the hardest forgiveness is for those who have vanished, those who never saw what they did, those who left without explanation, those who caused the pain and then disappeared. Help me to grieve what I never received and still release them to you. They are not mine to carry. They are not mine to punish. I am not the judge, and I do not need their acknowledgement to choose freedom. And Father, help me forgive myself. This is where the H turns inward, where shame hides behind the masks I wear. I remember the things I wish I could undo, the words I wish had not said, the moments I let fear guide me, the opportunities I squandered, the people I hurt. I replay them sometimes, even in the quiet of night, and I wonder if I will ever be free of that inner voice that accuses me. But you are not the voice of condemnation. You are the whisper of mercy. Let me receive that mercy now, fully and deeply, as if it were water soaking into dry ground. Let me speak gently to my own heart. Let me stop labeling myself by my past. Let me see that growth is messy, and that mistakes do not disqualify me from your love. You knew every failure I would ever make, and still you called me by name. Let that truth quiet the storm within me. Let it be the balm for the places that still sting. Let me walk in the kind of self-forgiveness that does not excuse my flaws, but allows me to keep moving toward wholeness. Father, give me wisdom in this process. Teach me the difference between forgiveness and unhealthy tolerance. Help me forgive those I need to release, even if that means setting boundaries. Help me honor both grace and truth. Help me remember that loving someone does not mean losing myself. Show me how to remain soft without being naive, open without being unsafe. Let forgiveness cleanse me without confusing me. There are names I still struggle to say without pain. There are faces I still flinch to remember, but even now, I lift them to you. Choose to believe that you can redeem anything, that nothing, no betrayal, no silence, no cruelty is beyond the reach of your healing. Maybe you will heal them too. Maybe I will never see that. But my healing is not dependent on their journey. It is dependent on my surrender. God, give me the strength to show grace today, even in the smallest moments. When someone interrupts me, let me breathe instead of snapping. When someone criticizes unfairly, let me be steady. When someone reminds me of an old wound, let me bless instead of withdraw. Let these be the daily acts of forgiveness that shape me into someone whole, not just in my mind, but in how I live and love. Let forgiveness become a rhythm in my life, not a rare event. Let it be the way I breathe out the heaviness and breathe in freedom. Let it be how I love those who are hard to love, including the version of myself that is still learning. Let it be how I keep my heart from growing cold in a world that often wounds without apology. Father, if I ever forget that I am forgiven, draw me close again. If I begin to tighten my fists around old pain, loosen them with your presence. If I find myself rehearsing the hurt again and again, interrupt me with grace. And if I feel like giving up on the process because healing feels too slow, whisper to me that you are not in a hurry, and neither should I be. I want to be someone who walks through this world unburdened, someone who radiates peace because she has tasted true release. I want my life to be a testament to the power of forgiveness, not because I never hurt, but because I chose to stay stuck in that hurt. And when others wonder how I remain soft in a hard world, let them see it is not because I am strong, but because you are. So today, I give you every heavy memory, every closed-off corner of my heart, every unfinished prayer. I give you the echoes that still haunt me and the names I hesitate to speak. I give you myself again, not just the parts I have already healed, but especially the parts I still wrestle with. And I ask you to make something beautiful out of it all. Not perfect, not polished, but honest, whole, and free. God, as I sit with the quiet aftermath of release, I feel a new space forming inside me, a space once occupied by resentment, now becoming still and ready. Peace is not loud. It does not announce its arrival with fanfare or force. It settles slowly, like morning mist over water, like sunlight inching across the floor. And in this unfolding silence, I sense you gently weaving strength into my soul, not the kind that clenches its fists, but the kind that opens its hands. Father, teach me to live with a peace that is not dependent on external calm. Life is rarely predictable, and the storms do not ask for permission. Sometimes the rain falls without warning. The winds rise suddenly. Circumstances shift like shadows at dusk, and what once felt certain becomes shaky. But you remain unchanged. You are not rattled by the noise of the world. You are not moved by the chaos that shakes my outer life. You are the stillness beneath the surface, the deep, unmovable current that carries me when I cannot stand on my own. Help me not just to know peace as an idea, but to live it as a reality. Let it be the undercurrent in every conversation, every decision, Every breath I take, let it be the pause before I react. The wisdom that steadies me when I want to panic. Let it rise within me when I encounter uncertainty, reminding me that fear does not have the final word. Let me draw from the well of your presence so deeply that even when life presses hard, I do not collapse under the weight. God, I confess that sometimes I reach for false peace, the kind that numbs rather than heals, the kind that avoids rather than confronts. I distract myself, silence my thoughts, push away discomfort, hoping that it will dissolve. But real peace comes not from escape, but from surrender. It grows in the soil of trust, and trust requires me to let go of what I cannot control. So I bring you my desire to manage every outcome, to predict every tomorrow, and I lay it at your feet. Teach me to loosen my grip and rest in the knowledge that you are already in every moment ahead. Let me become someone who carries peace into rooms heavy with tension. When others are anxious, let my calm remind them of stability. When others are angry, let my gentleness speak louder than any argument. When the world feels divided, let me stand as a bridge of grace. Let my presence not demand attention, but offer refuge, not by pretending all is well, but by carrying the assurance that no matter what comes, we are not alone. Lord, protect my peace from the noise that steals it, the constant stream of information, the opinions that clash, the pressure to react before I understand. All of it can cloud my heart if I let it. Give me discernment about what I allow in. Help me know when to speak and when to be silent, when to engage and when to walk away. Let me not confuse urgency with importance, or business with purpose. Let me guard the atmosphere of my soul as carefully as I would guard a fragile flame in the wind. Give me peace in the waiting, Lord. There are dreams I still hold, questions I still carry, prayers that remain unanswered. It is easy to feel restless in the unknown, to want to force what only time and your will can unfold. But let me not confuse delay with denial. Let me wait with hope, not anxiety. Let me believe that even the quiet seasons are filled with purpose, even when I cannot yet see their shape. Let peace be the song I hum while I wait for doors to open. God, grant me peace in my relationships. Where there has been strain, help me seek understanding. Where there is distance, help me approach with humility. Where trust has been tested, help me rebuild gently. Let me not hold on to pride, but instead choose connection. Let me value peace over being right, reconciliation over being heard. Let me listen more than I speak, and when I do speak, let my words carry healing and not harm. Show me how to be at peace with my past. I cannot change the pages already written, but I can choose how I live the ones still blank. Let me look back not with regret, but with compassion. Let me honor the lessons hidden, even in the hardest seasons. Let peace be how I thank my past for its wisdom and let it go. Let it not define me, but deepen me. Let it not trap me, but release me into who I am becoming. Father, there is also the peace that comes from knowing who I am. The world offers so many definitions: success, appearance, productivity, popularity. But you call me by name, and that name is enough. I am yours. Nothing more is needed to ground me. Let this truth silence the voice of comparison. Let it quiet the need for validation. Let me walk with my head high, not because I have it all figured out, but because I am secure in you. Help me find peace in my body, Lord. Let me honor it not for how it looks, but for what it allows me to do. Let me treat it with care, not criticism. Let me move through my day with gratitude for strength, breath, movement. Let me be at peace with the limits of today. Let me not strive to prove my worth, but rest in the fact that I am already loved, already accepted, already enough. God, let peace shape even my smallest actions, in how I greet a stranger, in how I wait in line, in how I sit with silence, in how I choose kindness over complaint, in how I end my day not with exhaustion, but with surrender. Let peace be the thread that ties my ordinary moments into something sacred. Let it be the unseen fragrance I leave behind, the quiet impact that ripples outward beyond what I know. And when the storm does come, and it will remind me that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of trust. Even if the waves rise, even if the sky darkens, I will not drown, because you are in the boat with me. You do not always still the storm immediately, but you always still the fear inside me. That is enough. That is more than enough. So here I am again, Lord. Breathing deeply with every exhale, I release what I do not need to carry. With every inhale, I receive what you are offering: stillness, steadiness, strength. And even if today is filled with challenges, even if things do not go the way I planned, let peace remain unshaken within me. Let it anchor me in all things, holding me steady, keeping me whole. Father, as I continue to rest in the quiet strength of your peace, I find myself leaning more deeply into the mystery of your process. Each moment carries me forward, not always toward clarity, but always toward transformation. And while I do not yet see the full picture, I am beginning to understand that trust is not about having all the answers. It is about remaining close to the one who holds them. There are days, Lord, when I wish the path would unfold with clear signs, when I long for certainty to light up like a highway at night. But you walk with me more like a lantern in the fog, revealing just enough for the next step. That next step is where I meet you again, not in the distant destination I imagine, but in the present place you invite me to occupy fully. Help me honor the sacredness of the now, not rushing ahead nor dwelling behind, but being faithful in this breath, this task, this heartbeat. God, I admit that I often want resolution. I want things to make sense quickly. I want progress to be visible. I want to feel like I am moving forward with purpose, but your ways are rarely rushed. You are not a God of shortcuts. You are a God of depth, of layers, of slow unfolding. What I see as delay may actually be development. What feels like detour may be divine direction. Help me stop measuring my life by speed and start trusting in the slow work you are doing in me. When I look around and see others advancing, succeeding, celebrating milestones I am still waiting for, remind me that my journey is not behind, it is just different. Let me rejoice with them, not through gritted teeth, but with a free heart. Let comparison lose its grip on me. Let envy dissolve in the warmth of trust. You are not late. You are not ignoring me. You are crafting something precise. Something personal. Something that cannot be rushed without losing its richness. Lord, remind me that process has a purpose. In the waiting, I learn patience. In the silence, I learn to listen. In the stretching, I develop strength. In the darkness, I cultivate resilience. Each part of the journey prepares me for what I cannot yet carry. You are forming my character, not just my circumstances. And while others may only see the surface, you are working on the roots, deep and unseen, so that when fruit finally comes, it is lasting, strong, and pure. When disappointment visits, as it sometimes will, let me not let it define the rest of the day or dictate the story I tell myself. Let me name it honestly, but not build a home in it. Let me learn from it, but not bow down to it. You are still good even when the outcome is not what I hoped. You are still present even when my prayers are answered differently than I imagined. And you are still faithful, especially when I feel like nothing is moving. In the stillness, you are sowing something eternal. God, help me trust you with the parts of my life that seem to be in limbo. The unanswered questions, the relationships that hang in uncertainty, the doors that remain closed, the opportunities that faded before they ever blossomed. Let me place each one into your hands, not just as an act of surrender, but as an act of hope. I believe you can bring beauty out of what seems barren. I believe you can breathe life into what feels forgotten. I believe that nothing is wasted in your economy, not the pain, not the waiting, not even the things I have lost. Let me find joy in the middle, not just at the finish line. Let me learn to praise you while the story is still being written. Let my faith not hinge on how things turn out, but on who you are. Because if you are in it, there is goodness in it. Even if I can yet name it. Let my trust be bigger than my timeline. Let my confidence be grounded not in what I can calculate, but in what you have promised. When my heart grows weary from questions with no answers, whisper reminders of your past faithfulness. Remind me of the Red Seas you have parted before, the manna you have provided in dry places, the healing you have brought in unexpected ways, the joy that came after nights of sorrow. You have never failed me before, and you will not begin now. Your record is flawless. Your heart toward me is unwavering. Lord, protect me from the temptation to manipulate outcomes or rush the journey. Help me resist the urge to take matters into my own hands when things feel slow. I know how easily I can confuse movement with meaning, how often I have tried to manufacture results instead of allowing you to lead. Teach me to discern when it is time to act and when it is time to wait. Let your spirit guide me, not my anxiety. Let your wisdom anchor me, not my fear of missing out. Give me eyes to see progress that does not shout. Maybe it looks like peace in situations that used to overwhelm me. Maybe it shows up in how I speak more gently, even under pressure. Maybe it is seen in the way I now apologize quicker. Love deeper, rest more fully. These are the quiet victories that mark real growth. Let me not overlook them simply because they are not dramatic. Let me celebrate them as evidence that you are indeed working in me. Father, let my trust be contagious. Let others who watch me in this season notice not just perseverance, but peace. Let them ask why I am not afraid, and let my life quietly point to you. Let my presence be proof that even in uncertainty, there is a place of refuge. Let me become someone who does not just endure the process, but honors it, welcomes it, and grows through it. When I wake tomorrow and still do not have answers, let me not be discouraged. Let me rise with the same steady resolve to keep walking, to keep trusting, to keep showing up with a heart open to what you will do. And if the road turns unexpectedly, if the path becomes rocky again, let me hold tightly to your hand. For I would rather walk the unknown with you than walk a well-mapped path without your presence. You are the one who shapes the clay, and I am not afraid of the wheel anymore. I will sit under your shaping hand. Even if I do not yet know what I am becoming, I will embrace the turning, the pressure, the waiting. I will welcome the pauses, the corrections, the refining. For you are the master artist, and your work in me is holy. So here I remain, right where I am, not demanding a quick fix, but resting in the assurance that you are doing a deep work, quiet, unseen, but certain. And that is enough. That is more than enough for today. God, as I continue to wait upon you, something within me begins to shift, not by force, not by visible change, but by the quiet strengthening that comes from your presence. I am learning that even when my body is tired and my emotions stretched thin, my spirit can still rise in strength because you breathe life into the parts of me that this world cannot touch. I no longer measure my strength by what I feel physically, but by the resilience you are cultivating deep within my soul. Father, there are moments when I wake up with the weight of everything I have carried yesterday still pressing down on my chest. Some mornings, it takes more faith to sit up than it does to speak out loud. But even in that struggle, I sense you are near. You meet me not at the height of my strength, but in the depths of my need. That is where you do your most beautiful work, not when I pretend to have it all together, but when I come to you emptied, raw, honest. Lord, the truth is, I do not need to impress you with perfection. You are not seeking polished faith or tidy emotions. You are looking for surrender. You are looking for the one who says, I do not know how to keep going, but I will trust you anyway. So today, I bring you my weary bones, my trembling hands, my fragile hope. I bring you the tension between what I want to believe and what I actually feel, and I ask you to strengthen me not just so I can survive, but so I can stand firm in joy and purpose. Strengthen my spirit when anxiety wraps around my chest like a chain. Remind me that fear has no final say. It is not my master. It is not my truth. You have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So even when my thoughts feel like they are spiraling, I will plant my feet in the truth of who you are. You are steady, You are unshaken. And because I belong to you, I am not at the mercy of chaos. Strengthen my spirit when discouragement whispers that nothing is changing. When I look at the same walls, the same struggles, the same silence, teach me to see beyond the surface. Help me believe that just because I cannot see the roots growing does not mean the tree is not being nourished. Let faith rise not in response to visible results, but in response to your eternal faithfulness. You are always working, even when the work is hidden. Strengthen my spirit when rejection stings. Remind me that being left out, overlooked, or misunderstood does not change my worth. People may not always see me, but you do. You know my heart, my motives, my sacrifices. You see the tears I do not speak of, the efforts no one claps for, the obedience that costs me everything. And in your eyes, nothing is wasted. You are the God who gathers the broken pieces and forms something holy. God, I know that my flesh will grow tired. That is part of being human. But I also know that when I wait upon you, my strength is renewed like the eagle's. That when I pause long enough to lean into you, I rise again not in my power but in yours. I walk and do not faint. I run, am not weary. Not because life gets easier, but because I am learning to draw from a deeper well. Remind me that spiritual strength is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like whispering a prayer through tears. Sometimes it is getting out of bed when everything in me wants to give up. Sometimes it is showing up with grace when I would rather retreat in silence. Let me not despise the quiet victories. Let me see them for what they are, evidence that you are sustaining me, shaping me, holding me together in ways no one else sees. When my heart grows faint under the weight of waiting, speak softly and surely to me. Let me hear your voice over the noise of doubt. When my body aches with fatigue, touch me with the kind of rest only you can provide, the rest that reaches down into the spirit and restores hope. When the world pushes me to perform, to keep producing, to prove my value, whisper again that I am already loved, already chosen, already enough. Lord, show me how to care for this vessel you have given me without worshiping its strength or condemning its limits. Teach me to rest without guilt. Teach me to pause without shame. Show me that slowing down is not failure, but often faith in disguise. Help me create space in my life for stillness, so your spirit can move freely and heal the places I have ignored for too long. And when I am strong, when joy returns, when clarity comes, when my steps feel light, help me remember to thank you. Help me not attribute that strength to myself, but to your mercy and power at work in me. Let the seasons of strength not lead me to independence from you, but into deeper gratitude and awe. Father, let my life be a testimony of what it means to be held when I could not hold myself together. Let the people around me see not a perfect person, but a dependent one, someone who has learned to fall into grace again and again. Let my resilience point to your refuge. Let my endurance reflect your empowerment. Even now, in this very breath, I feel you near. I feel you infusing my spirit with quiet courage. I feel you reminding me that I do not have to climb this mountain alone, that every valley, every shadowed path, Every unexpected detour, none of them scare you. None of them are too dark for your light or too heavy for your hands. You go before me, walk beside me, and dwell within me. That is why I am not afraid. So here I stand, not in the absence of weakness, but in the presence of grace. I may tremble, I may falter, I may even fall, but I will not stay down, because you lift me, you carry me, you breathe strength into my bones again. And as long as I have breath in my lungs, I will keep returning to you, my source, my shelter, my unshakable rock. I do not need to know how everything will unfold. I do not need the approval of everyone around me. I do not need perfect conditions to begin again. I just need you. And you, God, are more than enough, Lord. In the stillness of this morning, as the echoes of yesterday's doubts begin to settle, I find myself clinging tighter to you. The strength I spoke of before, the resilience you breathe into my bones, now meets its match against fear's quiet voice. Not the loud fear that shouts in panic, but the subtle fear that whispers through hesitation, through delay, through excuses disguised as wisdom. And so I come again, not because I am failing, but because I am learning that courage is not the absence of fear, but the presence of trust in you. Father, the courage I need today is not found in bold declarations or public achievements. It is the kind of courage that wakes up and says, I will still believe. It is the quiet bravery of choosing to speak truth in a world that rewards silence. The deep breath before taking the next step, even when the path is fogged with uncertainty. You know how often I have wanted to hide, how many times I have held back words that were meant to be spoken, how many moments I shrank not because I doubted you, but because I doubted that I was enough to carry what you placed inside of me. But you, Lord, you have never asked me to be enough on my own. You have simply asked me to believe that with you, I lack nothing essential. So I ask you now to build in me a holy courage not rooted in ego or pride, but in surrender. The kind that stands not on the edge of fear, but on the promise that you are already there, ahead of me, making a way through waters I never thought I would walk. God, let courage rise when I face opposition, not with defensiveness or retaliation, but with peace. Teach me to be bold without being bitter, to stand firm without becoming rigid, to speak truth without losing compassion. I want to live in such a way that even when fear knocks on the door, it finds faith answering instead. Even when my voice shakes, let my words carry the weight of heaven. Let courage rise in the face of delay. When the promise tarries, when the door remains shut, when the breakthrough is yet unseen, let me trust that waiting is not weakness, that you are not late, that in the hidden places, you are building in me the endurance that will sustain the promise once it comes. You are stretching my faith not to punish me, but to prepare me. Let courage rise in the face of failure, when the plans I held fall apart, when the outcome is not what I expected. Let me not confuse disappointment with defeat. Let me see failure not as the end, but as an invitation to deeper reliance. Remind me that success in your eyes is measured not by applause, but by obedience. And if I fall, may I fall forward closer to you, wiser, humbler, stronger, Let courage rise in my conversations. Give me the grace to speak life where there is despair, to offer hope where there is cynicism, and to be a voice of kindness in a world grown numb. Even when I am misunderstood, even when I am ridiculed, let my faith not be silenced by fear of man, because your approval is worth more than their applause, and your truth, once planted, never returns void. Let courage rise when I face myself. When the mirror reflects not strength, but struggle, not victory, but vulnerability, teach me not to turn away. Let me have the courage to confront my own shadows, to confess what needs healing, to release what I have clung to out of fear. Show me that true bravery is not pretending I am fine, but trusting that you can handle the parts of me I have kept hidden. Lord, I ask not comfort, but for conviction, not for the absence of struggle, but for the assurance that you are present in the storm. Give me the courage to go where you send me, even if no one else understands. Let my obedience not be dictated by applause or consensus, but by the quiet certainty that your voice is enough. And when I feel small, remind me that mustard seed faith moves mountains. When I feel unseen, remind me that you watch over every sparrow and know every hair on my head. When I feel outnumbered, remind me that you are the God who uses the few to do the impossible. Let me never forget that my courage is not mine to muster alone. It flows from you, the source of all strength and peace. You have never promised an easy path, but you have promised your presence. You have promised that in you, I am more than a conqueror, that no weapon formed against me shall prosper, that even in the valley of the shadow of death, I do not walk alone. And if you are with me, whom shall I fear? If you are for me, what can stand against me? So today, I will speak even when my voice shakes. I will show up even when it feels safer to withdraw. I will believe even when doubt comes knocking, not because I am fearless, but because I am choosing faith over fear. I am choosing to trust the one who knows the end from the beginning, who sees beyond this moment and holds my future in his hands. Lord, stir in me the fire that cannot be quenched by circumstance, a holy determination to keep going, to keep building, to keep believing even when nothing looks certain. Make me unshakable not because life is stable, but because my foundation is in you. Let me not be driven by emotion, but by conviction, not by fear of failure, but by faith in your calling. And when the world grows louder, when opinions clash and confusion abounds, teach me to be still. Let the quietness of my spirit speak louder than the noise. Let the peace you give be my anchor in a restless sea. Let my life be a lighthouse not because I never tremble, but because I never stop shining. Never stop pointing others to the shore of your truth. God, I surrender the need to always understand, the urge to control, the fear of rejection. I trade it for the courage that flows from knowing I am held, known, chosen. I trade it for the courage that walks into the fire, not to prove anything, but because you are in the fire with me. This morning, I do not ask you to take away the fear. I ask you to meet me in it, to walk me through it, to turn it into a doorway to something greater. And as I rise to meet this day, I do not rise alone, I rise with you, clothed in courage, strengthened by grace, and filled with a faith that no fear can silence. Father, even as I declare courage with my lips, there are mornings when my heart feels heavy with the weight of unseen burdens. The faith I profess, though real and anchored in you, sometimes feels like a flickering flame struggling against the winds of discouragement. After walking paths of trust, lifting my head through storms, and choosing belief in the midst of delay, I now find myself weary not in you, but in the waiting, the unanswered, the prolonged silence that tests the soul more than any battle. Yet even in this, I turn to you, not because I have it all together, but because you never asked me to. You only ever asked me to come. So here I am again, worn and honest, longing not for a miracle as much as for your nearness. Because when strength fades and hope grows thin, it is not resolve that carries me forward, it is you. It is your hands beneath mine, steadying what trembles. It is your whisper that interrupts the voice of despair and says, I am still with you. Lord, remind me in this moment that weariness is not weakness, that to feel tired is not to fail. Even you, in human form, grew tired and withdrew to quiet places. So let me not see exhaustion as shameful, but as a sacred invitation to rest in you, to stop performing, to stop proving, to simply let you be the shepherd who leads me beside still waters and restores my soul, not because I earned it, but because you are good, God. I confess that sometimes I expect life with you to be linear, progressive victories. Constant elevation, forward motion without pause, but you do not move by human timelines. You are more interested in the shape of my soul than the speed of my steps. You are not panicked by my pace. You walk with me through valleys not as an observer, but as a guide. You never rush my healing, never force growth, never abandon when I lag behind. You simply stay. You stay with compassion. You stay with patience. You stay with mercy that meets me anew every morning. There are moments, Father, when my prayers feel like echoes, like words tossed into the sky with no reply. But in my quiet, remind me that silence does not mean absence. That just because I cannot trace you, does not mean you are not at work. Help me believe again that seeds grow in the dark, that healing often happens underground, that roots deepen in places no eye can see. Let me trust the process, even when progress is invisible. When the load feels too heavy to bear alone, help me remember that you never meant for me to carry it all. Teach me to lay it down, not just the burden itself, but the pride that tells me I must handle it myself. Help me yield not only the pain, but the pressure to always appear strong. Make space in me for your strength to move, to breathe, to renew what has grown brittle. Let your presence be more than comfort. Let it be fuel. Let it be breath. Let it be the fire that rekindles my inner flame. God, I ask you to breathe fresh life into tired bones, not just energy, but endurance, not just motivation, but meaning. Lift my eyes to see beyond today's fatigue, to recognize that every step I take in faith, even if slow, even if small, is shaping eternity. That my obedience in the mundane, my worship in the quiet, and my trust in the unknown are all seen by you and never wasted. Let my soul be still enough to receive what I cannot earn. Let the striving cease, Let the proving end. Let me just be your child. Your beloved, your creation held together not by effort, but by grace. In that place, in that stillness, begin to refill what life has drained. Whisper again that I am not alone, that I am not forgotten, that you see even the silent battles I face, and you have not turned away. When the next step feels uncertain, when the days blur and the nights stretch long, help me to see the beauty in being carried. That sometimes the holiest act of faith is not moving faster, but letting you hold me as I am. Teach me to let go of expectations that wound me, comparisons that drain me, and doubts that cloud my joy. In their place, plant truth, plant light, plant songs that rise slowly from the ashes. Lord, remind me again that even the faintest whisper of faith is still a song in your ears, that you are drawn to the broken-hearted, attentive to the weary, compassionate toward those whose eyes are swollen from crying, that you do not require perfection before presence, but presence before healing. And so I bring you the offering of my frailty, because I know you delight not in strength, but in surrender. In these quiet hours, show me how to be gentle with myself, to acknowledge progress even when it is invisible to others, to celebrate showing up, to value still being here. Let me not minimize the miracle of surviving when it would have been easier to give up. Let me see my own scars as proof that healing is possible, that what was once bleeding is now becoming testimony. Fill me again, Father, with the reminder that this moment is not the end, that even if I do not see the outcome, I can still walk with integrity, that even if I do not feel joy yet, I can still choose gratitude, that even when I am not at my best, I am still deeply loved, and that love is not fragile, nor is it conditional. It is rooted in who you are, not in what I do. So as I continue this day, I ask not for ease, but for evidence of your nearness, not for the path to be perfect, but for my heart to remain tender and open. Let me be surprised by small wonders. Let me recognize your fingerprints in unexpected places. Let the rhythm of grace become louder than the rush of tasks and the pressure of timelines. Let me walk not with weariness, but with wonder. Thank you for not growing tired of me when I grow tired of everything. Thank you for not expecting more than I have to give. Thank you for being the one who finishes what he begins, who restores what life depletes, and who carries those who can no longer carry themselves. Even now, I feel the stillness settle into my soul, not as an escape, but as a grounding. You are here. You have always been. And that, more than anything, is enough to keep going. Lord, as this prayer draws near its final breath, I find my heart not closing, but opening wider. After all the words, all the quiet pleas and the unspoken tears between them, what I feel most is not exhaustion, it is gratitude. It is a deep, steady awareness that you have walked every step with me, that you have lingered in every pause, filled every silence, and whispered through every moment of stillness. I sense your presence now not as an echo, but as a quiet flame, glowing warm and unwavering in the core of my being. Through every chapter of this journey, you have been both the strength in my stride and the comfort in my stillness. You have not waited for me at the finish line, but have paced beside me, meeting me in the middle of confusion, fatigue, surrender, and hope. You did not need me to have the perfect words. You only needed my open heart. And now, with every part of me fully yielded, I feel lighter, not because the weight is gone, but because I no longer carry it alone. There is a sweetness in this final moment, not of closure, but of continuity, because even now, as these spoken prayers settle, my spirit remains in communion with you. The conversation does not end here. It simply deepens. It simply flows like a quiet stream, moving from these words into the rhythm of my daily life. It becomes the way I move, the way I speak, the way I love, the way I trust God. Let this be the beginning of a new way of seeing. Open my eyes to divine interruptions, those moments when heaven brushes against the ordinary and transforms it into sacred ground. Help me to pay attention to what I used to overlook. The way light dances on the wall in the early morning. The way the wind carries unseen prayers through the trees. The way grace arrives disguised as delay or detour. Let me not rush past the holy hidden in plain sight. Let what you have done in this quiet space not stay here, but unfold through every part of my day. Let the patience I have practiced in prayer become the way I respond to others. Let the trust I have found here become the anchor in my decisions. Let the peace I have received be the way I walk into uncertain spaces. Let the love I have remembered sink so deeply into me that it spills out even when I am not trying. I ask that the words I have spoken in secret begin to manifest in public kindness that confuses cruelty, through gentleness that disarms fear, through presence that heals what performance never could. Let my life be less about what I accomplish and more about who I become. Make me someone who listens deeply, gives freely, and lives honestly because I have spent time with you. And if there are still questions that have not been answered, wounds that have not fully healed, or longings that remain unmet, let me carry them with hope instead of heaviness. Let them become places where I meet you again and again. Teach me to live with wonder even in the waiting, to see beauty in what is still becoming, to rest in the assurance that nothing is wasted in your hands. Lord, in the days to come, remind me that faith is not a performance, it is presence. It is showing up. It is returning to you when I have wandered. It is breathing deeply even when I do not understand. Let my faith look less like striving and more like resting, less like perfection and more like perseverance. Let me stay open, stay soft, stay surrendered. Let prayer not be something I do, but the place I dwell. Let it shape how I enter rooms, how I hold silence, how I carry burdens, how I celebrate joy. Let it be the foundation beneath my feet and the horizon that draws me forward. Let it not be boxed into mornings or carved into rituals, but woven into every breath I take. May the sacred bleed into every hour so that nothing feels separate from you. In the quiet beyond this final word, help me continue the conversation with my life when the world grows loud again, when tasks demand my attention, when voices rise with urgency and pressure. Let the echo of this prayer steady me. Let it remind me who I am and whose I am. Let it ground me in truth, anchor me in love, and lead me into peace that the world cannot take away. Thank you for the way you have stayed, for never leaving when I grew distant, for always bending low to meet me where I am, for choosing to love me as I am, not as I pretend to be. That love has changed me. That love continues to shape me. And it is that love I now carry into the day ahead. To everyone who journeyed through this prayer with me, thank you. Thank you for choosing to stay in the quiet, for opening your heart, for daring to believe again. Your presence here is no accident. I believe with all my heart that these moments will bear fruit in ways you may not even see. Keep tending to your faith. Keep returning to the secret place. Keep listening for that still small voice. And if this prayer has stirred something in you, whether comfort, conviction, or clarity, I invite you to share it. Let your voice rise among others who are also walking this road of trust and transformation. Your words matter. Your faith matters. Your healing matters. You are not alone. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and share this prayer with someone who needs it. Let us continue building a space where hearts are restored, hope is rekindled, and faith is renewed one day. One voice, one soul at a time. Together, we make room for the sacred. Together, we keep the light burning. As I close my eyes and prepare to rise, I feel it again, that gentle presence, like the soft breeze that slips through an open window at dawn. It carries no demand, no pressure, only peace. It reminds me that no matter what the day brings, I do not walk alone. And as the light begins to spill across the horizon, I know in my spirit that grace has already gone ahead of me, waiting like morning on the edge of the earth.